Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It's a day later.
Yeah.
We normally record this. Had some technical issues.
Correct.
So we'll go out early Friday morning, right?
Yes. Yeah. Early July 1st. Yeah.
July 1st. Yeah. We wanted to, we're like, this is going to be a July podcast.
Yeah.
This June bullshit anymore. We're over June. Go away, June. Then this is the fresh, hot month.
First podcast of July.
It's usually hot as fucking July.
Yeah.
I always thought August was the hottest, but I think July might actually be hotter.
I don't know. It's weird because I always equate like the temperature to me. If it's hot, it's hot. And like my body doesn't differentiate much between like 99 and 102 or anything like that. But I do keep an eye on my electric bills. And my August electric bill is always my highest, which would mean that July is probably a bad temperature month for me.
I would say, yeah, July is the worst because even though we reached the longest day of the year in June.
Yes, the solstice.
You still have all those long days in July. So because of that, the sun's out longer.
Yep.
You have more abuse on your AC, like you're talking about, the electric bill being higher.
Yeah.
In August, it starts to get darker a little earlier. Not a big difference, but a little earlier.
Enough. And honest, in the summer, I have a unique feature in my house that I don't have for like 7, 8, 9 months out of the year. And that is, I don't have a short person standing in front of the fridge with the doors wide open, complaining about how there's nothing to eat, with the air from the fridge rushing out into the kitchen. So
you don't have that?
I don't have that in the school year. I sure got it all in the summer.
But you have it during the summer. Close the fridge. It's like that Arrested Development episode with the guy with the missing arm, and the dad would use him, and his arm came off, and he'd be like, "That's why you close the refrigerator door." His arm would always come off, but he was missing an arm. Scared the shit out of the kids.
Yeah.
That's why you keep the refrigerator door closed.
Well, over the school year, my kid is sucking up the school district's electricity, but in the summer.
So, are you like one of those people that are like, I'm going to save $1 and make myself suffer because I'm so cheap?
No, I
don't care about me. Like, are you like that more?
I will say I'm like that more than my wife. My wife, if she had her way, would keep the thermostat at like 68 or 70.
I'm definitely more in line probably with your wife in this, but I learned something moving out to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
The AC guy came to my house a couple weeks ago, and he said that when I always fear those people because I always feel like they're going to try to like push you into getting a new system or some bullshit, and he said it was fine. He just said make sure you change the filter every month in the summertime. But he said in Colorado, do not put your AC below 72.
Oh, why not?
Because there's not enough air. We're higher up.
Oh yeah.
We're over a mile higher than you are right now. So the air is different up here. He said there's not enough air to like even. There's no point.
Bring it down. Yeah.
There's no point. You're just straining your system. He said 72 is what you should have it on all the time. Just leave the fan running. That keeps like the cool air.
Yeah.
Fan in the system. And then when it comes on set, he said, don't. I was like, yeah, I mean, don't tell anyone. Please don't tell him either. Sometimes I lower it to 71. I'm a bad boy.
I keep
and I put on shades when I do it. And
like the old Maxell commercial.
Yeah, and I say, why don't you chill out?
I keep ours at like 76. I always have.
Oh my God. You're like, that's awful. 76. That's like dude, you're like the parents in Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and the kids complaining about how hot it was in the house. 76 is boiling.
Well, we have
maybe outdoors with some breeze and like shade. 76 is great, but 76 indoors is fucking awful.
I don't know. Our air conditioning, it's so hot here now that if we keep it at 76, the air conditioning is running often. And
you might as well just keep it on like 73 because 76, your system is still has to be on all the fucking time. If you put on 73, your house will actually be cooler and your system will actually work a little better. I feel like when like the old lady that lived here, I still haven't changed the settings on my thing. She had it set to 78. The lady that lived before us, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, 78."
Well, they say that
ERCOT must love you then. 76. That's like almost what Eric didn't. Oh no, what did they say to have it set to 82?
I don't remember that. I do remember they said a different website. This wasn't ERCOT. They said that if you set it at once you get the temperature at 78, every degree above that you set it will save you 2% on your electric bill, and every degree below it will jack up your electric bill by 6%. So like that's the sweet spot if you're trying to get like relatively cool air and not pay a fortune. But
78 is fucking hot. Like I said, indoors, that is 76 is awful.
Yeah, it's
because
weird.
Like I said, outdoor 76, especially like I said, it's cool breeze.
Yeah,
shade. 76 is great. It's
so wonderful. Weird.
Indoors, man, the heat is so much different, you know?
Yeah. Well,
if I had my way, I wouldn't even have AC. I just let the siding of my house melt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mold grow. What?
Well, the temperature is really weird. You're right, because it's so relative. Like 78 in December feels like it's a heat wave. But in the summer it feels like so cool, but it's the same temperature.
No, I'm just saying 78 outside feels good.
You have different
but if you're inside your house and it's 78, it's like you might as well be sitting in the sun.
Yeah, it's stifling.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's stifling. Like it's like the air is chunky. Like you're like, I don't. Speaking of air though, chunky.
Yeah.
It took 2.5 years. We'll talk about this first before we get into everything.
Yeah.
I was able to avoid it for 2.5 years. It finally got me.
You caught the coronavirus.
I did.
Yeah.
I caught it. The worst Pokemon ever.
Gotta catch them all.
Take it back. Go away, COVID.
So how did you first think like, oh, maybe I have the coronavirus? What was the first moment like that made you
explosive vomiting and diarrhea at the same time? No, I mean, like Saturday night, I started feeling like I had like a sore, or Sunday, I started feeling like I had like a sore throat, and then Monday night, I started feeling like I had a fever, and I took my temperature, and it was like over 90, 99 or something, 99.5. I was like, oh no. And I took some Tylenol, whatever, went to bed. Next day, still had like the sore throat, and my fever was like 100. And we have the COVID test in the house. We have a whole bunch of them. Thanks to the Joe Biden. If you follow them on Twitter, click on the link, you get free COVID tests. You don't have to go pay for them. They'll come. They might take a while. So if you need one tomorrow, that ain't happening. But it's good to have these. So I took the COVID test, and the second line came through. There's a C and a T.
Yeah.
You just want to be C and nothing else. If it's T and not C, you fucked up the test. Test is fucked up. You got to do it again. You want a positive, a negative is just C alone.
Yep.
And that's not what happened. I had a line come through on the T. It wasn't like super dark, but it was coming through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Supposedly dark means like you really got it. I have no fucking clue.
Well, we have those tests that we got from the post office, and we've taken them. All three of us in my family have taken them when we've been sick, and we've it's never even been close. I mean, it was like clearly you don't have it. You know, we were sick, but
I mean, there's other things going around.
Yeah. But, yeah.
You know, there's other colds and shit that existed. But so basically, yeah, I was just kind of just like laid me up a bit. A lot of coughing. Yesterday was like waterworks, just mucus, like endless. It was like clear. It wasn't like this morning I woke up and I feel like the fever broke. I woke up and it was like 97.6.
Nice.
And it kind of stayed in like 98 something all day. Now I'm fine. I went like yesterday we couldn't do the podcast. It was like,
right.
I mean, mate, it was best I didn't.
Sure.
I needed to sleep and whatever. Unfortunately, my kid, if he just got the booster recently, like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think whatever he has is pretty mild, hopefully. He had some fever this morning and then it went away. You know, gave him some like Motrin, it went away, and he was pretty much fine all day. And I think at night he was like a little bit. I just gave him some cough medicine, Motrin again, just goes to bed. My wife got her. She's not doing great right now. Hopefully it follows the same pattern. She's like a day or two behind me, so like tomorrow might be like her worst day.
Ooh,
and then, like it breaks the next day. So I talked to the doctor, and basically the doctor said I had an appointment, teledoc.
Now, did you go straight to the veterinarian or did you go to the feed?
No, I went to the
feed store
and just bathed in sheep paste. And I was like, I talked to the doctor. I said, I was chewing on it. And I said, it's apple flavored. It's delicious. It's packed with sheep paste goodness.
Yeah. Well, you gotta quadruple the dose because it's made for things with 4 stomachs. So
it makes total sense that a man with 1 stomach.
Right. You need more dosage.
Of course. You just squeeze the whole tube in your mouth. You'll be fine.
Oh, in your mouth? No, those are suppositories.
Well, that's how I knew it really worked.
Yeah.
I also I downloaded a recipe from the head of the TPT, whatever that racist was in Texas. And her summer shandy.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Hydroxychloroquine.
It was like grapefruit peels.
Get the fuck out of here!
It was like prison wine.
It was a day. Get the fuck out of here, you stupid fucking psychopath. Now, I called the doctor.
Yes.
And the doctor said, I was vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and I got the dose back, the booster back in November. She claimed I could have gotten a second booster, but I'm not 50 and I don't really have any comorbidities. But it's fine. I won't be able to get a booster till September now anyway because I had the
okay.
Like 3 months or something afterward. Right. And I should be in the clear. But she said basically, you know, I told her right from the start, like my symptoms were pretty mild. She said she didn't prescribe me anything because she said that, like, 1, I don't really need it, especially if the Tylenols bringing my temperature down to very much normal. I don't need it.
Right.
And she said that like some of those remedies, they're not tested fully by the FDA. Yeah. And she's like, the damage they could leave could be worse than COVID.
I think it's a virus. Don't you just have to let it take its course and you use like treatments for comfort? Or
this is not a normal virus. So like, you know, I didn't lose my taste or smell. I still have that. I think if anyone who did not get vaccinated or didn't get fully vaccinated or didn't get the booster, those are the ones losing the taste and smell.
Yeah,
those are the ones that are having a harder time.
Right.
And she said that it'll run the course. And it'll be like, she said, like after 2-3 days, I should be fine. Yeah. And hopefully I did feel better today. Today, I guess, counts as day 3.
Yeah, that's a pretty quick course then. Yeah.
Full. And she said that, like, you know, you shed the virus the most contagious is those first like 5 days.
Yeah.
She said that's why like they started making people go back to work or whatever. And they were like saying like every 5 days you should go back, and it sounds insane. Like, what the fuck? This virus, but she said that like you're not contagious, like you're not as contagious as you were.
Yeah, I've always heard that just in general viruses.
But if you're still sick, you should not go to work.
No, but you're most contagious like right before you realize you're sick. Like in a weird sort of way.
So I feel like probably like Friday or Thursdays, like who knows when I got it, and then it brewed in me for a couple of days. And then, like I said, it started out with a sore throat. Never was like terrible. It was like scratchy. And I burnt my mouth on something I ate. So that didn't it was hard to like gauge.
Right.
Yeah. Sore throat or a burn. But like I said, it's when I had the fever the night before. I was like, oh man. And that's when I took the test. And so we'll see what happens. Like I said, my main concern is hopefully this is it and I don't relapse or have like you hear those stories, but she said if you're vaccinated and with the booster and everything, it should literally just be that cycle. Like my dad got COVID and he didn't really have a fever, or so he claims.
Yeah.
But his nose, it was like waterworks for a couple of days.
Yeah.
He just was like runny nose like crazy. And yesterday was the worst. Today, not so bad. I didn't really have a runny nose.
I think if you're vaccinated, then it has a potential to be serious, but you're much more likely to experience like something relatively mild.
And that's and that's where all these stupid anti-vaxxers, they're pushing that bullshit saying that it was the vaccinated or dying of COVID. It's like, no, you dumb fucking morons.
Yeah.
You see that fucking Supreme Court shit with Clarence Thomas today?
That makes perfect sense. Like that guy's like really kind of an ancient bizarro. I mean, he's got a lot working against him.
That's some like modern day chud shit, saying that like the vaccine was made with like aborted fetuses. Some bullshit. First of all, people were like, no, the vaccine was not used stem cell research. But you know what's funny? All that shit the right wing were pushing, like Regeneron and shit like that.
All that was
made with stem cell research.
It's like if you are engaging in modern medicine, then you're very, very likely encountering something that was manufactured through like questionable means.
You should not have a conspiracy-minded moron like that on the court.
No,
that's ridiculous. Like that should not come out of his mouth. That's like something that comes out of like
your weird uncle at Thanksgiving.
Like the asshole, your dumb uncle. Like what the fuck? I don't know. So COVID, like it sucks. It was not the worst sickness. I'm not 100% done, so I don't want to like, knock.
Don't jinx it.
Me, my wife, and Roger are fine. I think if anything, now I got better, so then now I can take care of them and not getting any actual break. Hopefully it just by next week it's completely gone from us. I mean, sucks. It sucks because it pisses me off because, like, we wear masks everywhere we go to concerts, wear masks, go to stores, I wear masks. If we go out to eat, I mean, it's kind of stupid. If you're eating at a place and there's people around, the whole concept's kind of dumb wearing a mask going in because it's like you're going to get it anyway. So it's either you do it or you don't.
Yeah.
We have been, and we've been fine. It's just, it kind of lacks the most this week. I feel like it of everything. And it just pisses me off because it's like every asshole in the world, you see, like, they don't care. They're fine. They maybe they got it or whatever. You don't know, but it's like.
I think a lot of people got it and never really disclosed it or talked about it. I think it's possible a lot of people got it and it just happened to not be that bad for them. I mean, who knows? It's hard to say. Like, all I know is that, like, for a long time, I just got it in my head that I'm going to do whatever's reasonable, to keep safe, and it's worked out okay. I mean, like you said, I've been in places where I'm not like as diligent as I was previously, or whatever. I mean,
I've been very diligent. I just think like this past week, I just like laxed a bit. And it's like, this is when I get fucking COVID. Like, what the fuck? I mean, like I said, we've been to people's houses, we've done stuff. A lot of it's like outdoors, some of it. So we usually are like fine with it.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I've always been cautious. And this week, kind of like, just instead of wearing like a K95, I was just wearing like the disposable ones.
Yeah.
And dude, this shit's running like wildfire. Let me tell you, you're probably gonna get COVID. Yeah, I'm not saying because I got it. There's a really good chance. Two problems with why COVID I think is gonna spread like crazy. One, because I've seen so many people on Twitter saying they got COVID this week. Like so many people who are like, I didn't even have it. Like 2.5 years, and now I fucking finally got it. I think this shit is. It's now my doctor said the strain is like a weaker strain of the Omicron.
Oh, okay.
It's still, she's like, it can still fuck people up and make them go to the hospital and shit. Yeah. It's not, it can still kill people, but it's not like, Delta. Or,
right.
It's like, if you're vaccinated, you'll be like, okay. So yeah, guys, if anyone's listening to this, just get vaccinated. Stop falling for memes. There's like billions of dollars of research and millions of hours of man time or women time or whatever went into the vaccine.
Yeah.
And maybe you should listen to them and not like the moron that spent 10 minutes making a meme with a minion character on it.
Right. Yeah.
Like maybe like, do your own research and maybe like understand that there might be some validity to the people, the decades and coronaviruses research and all that other stuff before COVID didn't happen. And maybe just these people might know what they're doing.
It's just so crazy. I mean, like so many people have been vaccinated with like no ill effect that I don't know, whatever.
Like if you can turn on your car,
right?
Just know that it took tons of people to figure that out for you.
Yeah.
Before you did that, you should probably even consider that with
and it's safe. Like getting in your car is safe, and like you know what's going on like underneath your hood, like controlled explosions and internal combustion and all that shit. I mean, like it's a big leap of faith. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, like I don't know, I'm blown away by that. Like if you're the people, like you could be presented with all the proof in the world and they'd be like, I don't know, and then it's like, here's a meme I saw on Facebook,
right?
Like, originated on like 4chan, then originated somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
it.
Gospel.
That's where it's at. And it's just like, it's hard. It's just
yeah.
It's awful. I can't even imagine what it would be like if I got this without the vaccine.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know. Like I said, I'm not. I would say right now, I feel like I'm like 80%, back to 80%. I guess 85%. Hopefully it stays that way or it gets better. Back to normal. That's what I'm hoping. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, guys, if anyone just get the vaccine, because this shit, it's spreading like wildfire because there's no like.
Well, there's no containment measures anymore.
There's no containment measure. Everything's open. No one's really wearing masks anymore. Not really.
I so rarely see people wear masks. I had to go into a Walmart. I don't normally go into stores that much anymore. We do like takeout orders and stuff like that. But I had to go into a Walmart the other day. And I saw maybe like 1 out of 20 or 30 people wearing a mask, and it's older people or I see it for whatever reason. There's like a decent number of people that are wearing also like headdresses. I assume they're like Muslim or whatnot, and I seem to see a lot of that population wearing masks. I don't know if that's unique or just what I happen to notice, but it's rare.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't really see it at all anymore. And I think also the fact that like planes, the fact that they got rid of the masks and planes, that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
that was probably like the dumbest move. Like, just thoughtless. Like this was thought out by really greedy people that don't give a fuck about their passengers and doesn't care about their staff either.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't not wear a mask for fucking 2 hours on a plane or 3 hours.
It's good even without like the coronavirus. It's just a good idea.
Yeah, like it's a fucking, you're in a tube in the sky trapped with other people with the same recycled air for like how many hours? It makes sense out of all the places in the world, that should be probably the place you should be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Whatever. So hopefully I'll be better. Hopefully next week we do podcast right next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully I could have good news and just say it's all gone and that's it. And
there you go.
We'll see what happens. I don't like this. That's my most uneasiness thing about it. Is just that is those stories, but I am vaccinated. I do have the booster, and majority, not even just like the main, like 99%. It's if you get it, you just go through that couple of days cycle, and you just kind of get it out of your system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what else are we talking about?
Well, we got a little bit of pop culture stuff. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange movie. We're going to talk about Ms. Marvel, the latest episode, and then very briefly a couple shows we've kind of been watching: For All Mankind and Strange New Worlds.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about the SCOTUS decisions that have come down over the last week, and probably three in particular. We were going to talk about the gun decision affecting New York, the EPA decision affecting West Virginia, and the big Roe versus Wade, Roe versus Wade decision.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about that West Virginia thing because I saw some piece of shit like, yay, we did it. I'm like, yay, black lung for everyone.
Yeah, that was the Attorney General. I saw that tweet. The Attorney General of West Virginia.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's bizarre.
Why would you praise this?
And then we're going to talk about the January 6th hearing with that woman who kind of whistle blew on Trump.
The one that everyone's propping up.
It's weird. I believe her. I think she's telling the truth. I think it's great that she's telling the truth on this. But she's still a terrible person. I mean, she willingly worked. She
would still work for him?
Yeah. She worked for Trump. She worked for Steve Scalise. She worked for Ted Cruz. And she worked for Mark Meadows. So those are four of the shittiest people in the country. I don't think she's a good person. She's probably a terrible person. She's just run into people even more terrible than she is.
I hate when they fucking praise these people. It's like Liz Cheney,
Liz Cheney's a terrible
president. What are you, high? I mean, I'm glad that she's doing something, but I still don't trust her.
No, these people can be. That's what one of the last things we're going to talk about is Rogan and DeSantis. Rogan saying he'd vote for DeSantis, and I think this is the exact problem Democrats are making right now is that they'll talk up Liz Cheney and they'll talk up Joe Walsh or whatever, and they'll talk up this Hutchinson woman, and they'll talk up all these people, and all of a sudden you've got Democrats on record for a year or two saying that these people are straight shooters or whatever.
Yep.
They will all run and endorse DeSantis.
Yeah,
they will all every single one.
Go. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
And they may not. Yeah, but I think they will. And you may not have Liz Cheney ever endorse Trump, but she will endorse literally any other terrible Republican.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I get that it's kind of a nuanced situation where you kind of should welcome their help in things like this, but it should be welcoming their help with your eyes wide open, and understanding who you're getting into bed with. So I don't know.
Yeah, I want to talk about that and the whole thing about edgy comedians and how they confuse.
Yeah.
Ideologies are confused. All right, I guess we'll talk about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I finally watched that on Disney Plus last Thursday, the day after we did our last.
Yeah, I rewatched it the other day.
I loved it. I thought of the Phase 4 movies, this and Shang-Chi were clearly my favorites. Both of them
Shang-Chi was good. I just didn't like the last half hour of it. I didn't care for the battle in the end. I thought that was kind of forced. And didn't think it needed such a insanely epic battle with those dragons.
That was a little odd.
Go ahead. What?
No, I think Shang-Chi, for me, it benefited from reasonably low expectations. I didn't think I was going to love it. I turned out to like it a whole bunch, and as a result, my estimation of it was maybe a little inflated. But Doctor Strange was just as it was really great.
I think it's the best directed next to like Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And like even like the Guardians movies. Just like, I don't know. I think there's just people with shit on Marvel movies any way they can.
Yeah.
There's people who are just out there shitting on them. I'm like, these movies are not cookie cutter. You're not really watching them. Shut the fuck up. These people are like there was these idiots showing like a picture and saying like, this is flat. This is from like Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, okay, you picked one fucking scene and you're trying to make it like, oh, there's no art direction involved here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, listen, this is consumer product, and most movies kind of are.
Yeah.
Like, you think Top Gun Maverick is art? I mean, it's an art work, but it's consumer product.
I think people too, like, I don't love the idea, like one of the modern things is to take a still from a movie or a 5-second clip or a real small sliver of it and talk about it as if it's like representative of the whole thing. But movies are kind of built to be a long narrative experience. You know, you're not supposed to watch 5 seconds of the movie and pick it apart. You're not supposed to. I know you can watch a scene.
You understand the whole movie because of these 5 seconds.
Exactly. And like with some of it, like if you were to freeze frame a specific action scene, then yeah, maybe you can pick apart the practical effects or the thing. But that's the magic of movies. It's like sleight of hand.
I think again, it's just people who love the shit on Marvel movies.
Yeah. This was such a great.
They think it gives them cred, or they try to or it's funny, they try to do this other twist and say like Marvel fans didn't like Doctor Strange because it was different from the other one. I'm like, what? It made a ton of money. Of course Marvel fans liked it.
Yeah, some people just they want to be edgy to get likes, and
they'll try to take ownership and take it away from. I see that a lot with Star Wars. I see that with people. They do that with Last Jedi, where like not the people that hate Last Jedi because there's like an Asian woman and they think they didn't like the feminist agenda or whatever that had. It's the other way around where they know that most Star Wars fans were disappointed in that movie.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, this one's my favorite one. The one that turned your favorite character into a depressing hermit.
Right. It's
shit on it. You know, that's my favorite movie. That's the one that really gets Star Wars. That one's the art movie. The other ones are crap. They do that, and I'm like,
that's frustrating.
I'm like, that's just frustrating. It's like, you know what? Star Wars: Last Jedi was not a good movie. I'm sorry. There's good parts.
Yeah, right. But that's not what a movie is. A movie is parts.
But it's not a good movie. It's a terrible bridge film. It's a terrible. It literally destroyed the trilogy. Like, because they didn't know what to do with the third one.
Yeah.
Empire made the original trilogy because it was the perfect bridge film.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to talk about Star Wars, talking about Doctor Strange. So there's this weird thing where it's like Doctor Strange is one of the more interesting Marvel movies, next to like Ragnarok and the Guardians book, that they try to like take ownership and use that movie to trash your average MCU fan.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that some MCU people, probably this is not their favorite one.
Yeah, I can see that.
I also think that but here's the thing, Doctor Strange was never the most popular character in the comics.
No, it was a weird. I remember I
never enjoyed it as a kid. I didn't. I always liked the X-Men. I liked Spider-Man, and I liked the Hulk.
When I was a kid,
a normie loser. I don't know what to say.
No, when I was a kid, the X-Men were like the big favorites amongst the people like in
the 80s, early 90s. X-Men was like the best 70s, 80s, and 90s or best comic.
And I remember really getting to Doctor Strange. I'd go to the school book fair and you could get those big kind of omnibus collections of like a whole bunch of comics, you know, like in a paper bar, like an old trade paperback. Yeah. And I got really into Doctor Strange. No one else liked Doctor Strange. You know, I mean,
he's always a weird character. So like, I don't know if his solo movies demand that the same audience that like a Spider-Man movie is going to have. Now, Doctor Strange was in that Spider-Man movie. I'm sure it probably helped.
I think
he had a big decent part in that last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think some characters work really well with additional characters around them, and Doctor Strange may be one of those characters, because Doctor Strange himself, I don't want to say he's one note, but like
I thought he was great in this one. I love the opening of the movie.
Yeah,
they show the alternate reality, and he has a ponytail.
Yeah,
and they talk about that in the when America shows him the dead body from the alternate universe, and he's like, "You have a ponytail." And there was so many great Evil Dead references in that movie.
Yeah, well, even some of the camera angles were like straight out of Evil Dead.
Even like those, like when he's possessing the body of the dead body version of him, it's kind of cool. It's like it starts out in the beginning with America and like how he kind of turns on her and he's gonna like steal her power and she loses trust in him. And it's interesting. Spoilers for Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. Yes. He kind of redeems the dead Doctor Strange in her eyes in a way by saving her with the dead body of even though like he's doing that weird like dream walking, whatever they called it, shadow walking.
Was it skin walking or
skin walking? No, that sounds gross.
So I think it's dream walking. Yeah,
something like that. And I guess like it's kind of a cool little like closure to that story with America because it's like he's redeeming not just one, he's saving her, but he's redeeming that other universe Doctor Strange with the dead body, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It is. It's a great movie. I couldn't think of anyone other than Sam Raimi. I mean, this is very much a Sam Raimi movie.
He has to just be the next one. He has to be the guy that they use to make Doctor Strange movies going on. If they want to make another Doctor Strange movie or Defenders movie, like when I say Defenders, I mean the real Defenders, which was like Silver Surfer, Hulk, Namor, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like that version, not that lame Netflix shit. That was
disappointing.
It wasn't very good. And I think he'd be perfect for that. He needs they definitely need to keep him on retainer. Like he has to be someone that they use to make a movie.
Well, it was real funny and it was real serious. And it was like I just kept thinking like how quickly the movie was going, like in a good way. It was
pretty quick.
Yeah, I watched it on Disney, like I said, and so I would pause it to go, get something out of the fridge, or I'd be up and down. And every time I hit pause to go do something, I saw the time and I was like, man, this movie's flying by in a really good way. It's just like a
shorter. I mean, it was like a little over 2 hours.
Yep, just a little over 2.
It's funny, back in the day, a 2-hour movie was a long movie.
Yeah.
Now it's just 2 hours. It's like that's considered short, which I think is funny.
You want to pay half price.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? I should get a discount. I always liked when you see like a shitty comedy.
Yeah.
That was really only like 78 minutes long. Right. The credits are of like 20 minutes of shitty bloopers.
Yeah.
Because if they legally, if they wanted to actually sell in the theater, it has to exceed a certain amount of minutes.
Yeah. I remember seeing
what was it like? Remember Pootie Tang?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I never saw it, but yeah, I remember the
horrible
movie.
It was such a weird, awful movie, but like 30 minutes of the movie were just bloopers in the credits. So the movie would be like 84 minutes long or something.
I remember seeing a lot of movies, probably in the mid 80s, that were all those like up the river, the kind of screwy sex comedies, like that weird PG, like I don't know if they were PG-13, but they all were kind of like they'd probably be R today, but they were PG-13 at the time. And like a lot of those were just so quick. I'd go to the movie theater and you'd see like a 1:00 show and you'd be eating wings by 3. It's like...
So what did you think? My only big disappointment with Doctor Strange is Scarlet Witch. I didn't like what they did to her. I feel like now, if you didn't watch WandaVision at all, you'd probably be a little confused.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the kids, and you'd be like, why is last time you saw her was her taking on Thanos? And
right.
like, I don't even know what the hell I did to you, because it was a younger Thanos, not the one that killed the Vision.
Yeah.
And that's like the last time you really see her is in the end of Endgame. And then if you watch WandaVision, you kind of know where she ends up,
right,
with the kids and everything. But this movie, it's weird because you got this with the kids. So they basically do acknowledge WandaVision. It makes sense to watch. I think it's odd they don't even mention Vision once. Do they mention Vision?
They mention it once because Wanda says like she put a hole in his head to say, she mentions him once, but it's like not.
Yeah, but like it's just weird that he's completely removed from the picture because like they want to pay that guy or something.
Well, like why? I thought that too because like all this time I was like, Wanda, there's probably other Visions too. Like, do you want to go see him? Like,
she just wanted the kids.
Yeah.
Which is whatever, but yeah, she's like, he's just a robot. I'll build him. I'll build no sex toys.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's like other Visions. I don't know. I felt like did they not watch WandaVision, the creators of this movie? Because I feel like they just kind of like, the whole, you had this like huge character arc in WandaVision. It's a very good show. And she comes into her own with her powers. She comes to Scarlet Witch in the end, thing with Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
And then like realizing what she did with the town, and how fucked up it was, and kind of just removing herself from society in the end. And I feel like there's like a lesson learned. And she's gonna try to redeem herself. And instead in this movie, she's just a straight up fucking monster. It could be implied because she grabbed the Darkhold and that thing turns you into a monster. I kind of wish they kind of really pushed that more. That she is not like, this is not Wanda. She's fully possessed by this evil book. I feel like they didn't do a good job of pushing that. It almost felt like, no, she's just a straight out villain and she's not really redeemable. She tries to redeem herself in the end a bit. There's like the alternate reality Scarlet Witch that saves her kids.
Yeah.
She's not the bad one. She uses that one to kill the Illuminati.
Yeah.
But spoilers. I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like that she was 100% the villain. I really kind of wish if I were to add like another 15 minutes into this movie, I would introduce the villain Nightmare, which is a major Doctor Strange villain. Nightmare. Okay. And he's a character that like throughout the Marvel universe, like he fucks with characters, and basically it would make sense if Nightmare was involved, that it would make her become more evil and crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
He's fucking with her. And it could have been like, because he's like an entity, he could have just showed up in the end for like 10 minutes and then redeem Scarlet Witch and you could bring her back instead of now it's like, I guess she's dead. I don't even know. Like
it seemed like she was dead.
Like a mountain kind of falls on her. I don't know. I didn't like that. That's like my only kind of like, I think if I just watch this movie alone and I don't think about WandaVision alone, then I'm like, okay, it's fine. But I don't like that she's just like a straight up villain. It feels like a little bit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think if they did push at the book was the thing that's making her evil a little more.
Maybe that would make a lot more sense. Maybe there's some overarching phase 4 thing going on that kind of helps explain it. I mean, like,
I just don't know how she could be redeemed. Now, Scarlet Witch has gone crazy in the comics before and has become evil. They had a storyline called House of M years ago.
Yep.
And then had some other story, like every 10 years they make her evil or something in the comics. Doing this since the 70s.
Right.
Late 70s. And I just think like this would have been a good opportunity to introduce like Nightmare, who is again one of Doctor Strange's like there's like Dormammu, and then Nightmare is like number 2 or 3 in his villain list. So I think that could have been I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Okay, now let's talk about like real quick the Illuminati. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I honestly liked it. I know it's gotten a lot of hate. I know you weren't like, look, as far as like Jim from The Office being Reed Richards. Look, I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. I just he was fine.
Somebody, what was it, Cody Johnson or something from Smart News, he posted about it, said that I guess in an interview Sam Raimi said that they basically casted him to be the Mr. Fantastic in this movie because of all the fans wanting it. And he's made a joke and said that he Sam Raimi casted him for this small part to show you that no,
he'd be terrible.
Not right for this character. And it is true. He's not. Like, I watched it. It's fine for this, like 3 minutes he's in there. He's like a more older Mr. Fantastic, it seems. Like they made him definitely, like, I don't know Jim from The Office is. I would say he's probably like in his probably similar age to me.
Maybe probably.
I don't know, but this one they made him feel like he was older. I did like when Doctor Strange, when he's in the thing and he says Mr. Fantastic, Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, like something, he mentions the 60s and said like, we're like tracking in the 60s or something.
Yeah.
And I love that because that means, and it's like, man, they're stealing my idea. Are they listening? I might have mentioned it on this podcast. Who knows? My idea for a perfect pitch for how to bring the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
They existed in the 60s.
Okay.
And their adventures were in the 60s, and then they got caught in the negative zone.
Oh yeah.
That's where Annihilus is and all those other fucking characters are. And they come out of the negative zone, and now they're here in our time.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I think that it would. You have the first movie take place in the 60s, and you could have like all the crazy Jack Kirby shit in there, and do all the crazy. You could set up Galactus. You could bring Doctor Doom in there, and just go full hog wild. Don't try to like make it as fucking like almost like way Rupert, what's his name? Richard E. Grant was as Loki in the Loki show. That outfit. Have him like that, like the fucking spandex and shit.
Right.
And like the fantastic car, Herbie the robot, like that's 70s.
Yeah.
But like just fucking go crazy. And then like they end up in our time because they went through the negative zone. Something to do with like the quantum zone or whatever. Quantumania is going to be. Maybe that's where they really introduce Fantastic Four. I don't think John Krasinski's right for Mr. Fantastic because I don't think he comes off like a thoughtful person. Mr. Fantastic should be a guy who is the smartest, not just is he the smartest person on the planet, but he's always thinking and he's always not 100% sure about himself. And I feel like Jim from The Office doesn't give the vibe that he is always thoughtful. He would be great as like, I wouldn't mind if he played like the original Nick Fury, like you know what I mean, like something like that. I feel more
actually he'd probably be pretty good at that, to be honest.
Like an agent character, someone who's like a soldier more. And I know it's like he did that show
on Amazon.
Yeah, and I'm not like bashing for that. I'm more just saying he does not come off like an inquisitive person. He was fine for this as this kind of like senior. Like, I don't want what's his face to play Professor X when they bring back.
No, Patrick Stewart. No,
he's like 1,000 years old. He was great in this. I thought this was a fun thing with him in the chair.
Yeah,
and like I love the part when they show him the mind and he's trying to get her out of the. And I love when the monster Scarlet Witch breaks his neck. You see her.
Yeah, that was real spooky.
The Black Bolt thing. I love his name. What was it, like Black Bolt again, or?
Well, it was like Blackamus local. Yeah, it was something really.
Do you know that the outfit was CGI?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they showed behind the scenes he's wearing like that digital suit thing that they wear. And they
makes sense.
Like, they could have been several factors. They didn't want to fucking pay to make a costume live for just this 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or they didn't know what the design was going to be.
Yeah.
So fuck it. Have them wear these like. Dude, most of the time, most of the costumes in these movies, except for like Doctor Strange and shit, a lot of the times they're fucking digital suits.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
I don't know if you saw like when they made Endgame, that outfits they wear before they go to the portal.
Yeah.
That was all digital.
I think I saw something like that on YouTube.
Because they weren't like sure like what we're gonna look like yet.
Right.
I mean, I thought it looked great. I do love the guy who's the guy from Star Trek.
Anson Mount.
Yeah, I thought it was great to have him in it because he was in that Awful Inhuman series, but they kept him in there. I like that the outfit looked straight out of the comics.
Little tuning fork on his head.
Yep. I mean, the Illuminati scene was fine. I feel like people were like expecting way too much from this movie, and they were disappointed. They really thought that like they were going to go into like thousands of multiverses. They went to a couple. That one scene where they kind of go through like the paint planet and universe, and they kind of go through that. That's cool. It would have been cool maybe to have a little more of that, but I I don't know. I feel like people thought like Wolverine was going to be in this, like all the X-Men were going to show up. But like, how much do you think this movie's going to cost? Like, you're not getting Avengers Endgame in a Doctor Strange sequel. Like,
plus you want to tell us, you want to tell a story. You know, I mean, like you don't want a collection of scenes. You want a story.
Have more cameos.
Yeah.
I will say the other thing I didn't like, not I didn't like it. It just kind of annoyed me. Mordred, what's his name?
Mordred, yeah.
Mordred, is that his name?
I think so. His enemy
Mordo?
/ it's like Mordred, I think.
I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah,
like the last time you saw him was in the first movie, and in the end scene, they showed that he was going to go after anyone that Baron Mordo. That he was going to go after anyone that he felt abused magic. He went after that one guy who literally decided, I'm going to just take my skills of magic and use them just to make that I'm not in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because they show that decision he makes. Like, Doctor Strange could have took his magic and just had it that he can be a surgeon again.
Right.
And like have perfect hands again. And instead he decided, no, I'm going to become an actual, save people and stuff in a different way. And there was this quest. And then the last time you saw him was back in like 2016 when the first Doctor Strange came out. So he's not in any of these other movies. He shows up in this movie, but this is a different.
Yep.
Now, this is from that universe.
Yeah.
And they have this fight, and it's weird because it's like, that's not the Mordo. They had original plan was that Scarlet Witch in the beginning was going to kill Mordo. Our universe. Mordo, over the MCU's main MCU timeline.
Yeah.
That he would confront her and she would kill him, therefore revealing what a villain. But they decided not to do that, and they went with that when Doctor Strange visits her.
Yeah.
Field. I love that scene. It's like, oh my god, she was like living in hell. Like,
yeah, that was a crazy scene. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
I watched it again, and it's kind of cool. Like like Doctor Strange knew it was up the whole time because he goes there and he like smells these apple trees and he's like, they smell real, and like he knew that none of it was real.
Yeah, she gave it away when she brought up America, and he's like, I thought that girl was great in that. She was a good character.
Oh yeah.
What's his face is always great as Wong. He's fun character.
He's good.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, my biggest gripe with it really is just I don't like what they did with the Scarlet Witch, just because of like I don't feel like they respected what happened in WandaVision.
I could see that.
It was like almost like doing it again or something. It's like we already kind of reformed her. Now, like I said, I wouldn't mind if she turned evil again, but there's gotta be more of a catalyst, like explain more that this book is pure evil. This book is possessing her. And then when the book is removed for her, she kind of reverts back, Yeah. Like, scene where like the book's away from her and she's like coming to sense, and then the book's back in her hands and she becomes evil again. Or Nightmare of a major villain of Doctor Strange.
That would have been good. Yeah.
That could have been good. I like the Bruce Campbell thing.
Oh, he was great.
I'm like almost like, is he wasted? I almost feel like he could have been like a good, funny Marvel character.
Yeah.
Did you stick around for the end?
Yeah. I where he finally stops punching himself.
And he's like, it's over. Oh, that's so cool. And he's telling her.
Well, this
is not gonna last that long. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks sounds like hell.
Guys,
one day would be hell.
It was
just be jelly.
It was.
You don't have any bones anymore. I guess you're not hitting yourself that hard. I don't know.
I guess you could like restrain yourself, I suppose. But
I like see the details, like the cart, all the old melted cheese. Because he couldn't do anything. Food's free in other universes,
right?
Not in this universe.
Yeah, it was great. I think your complaints are kind of spot on. I felt them too. I felt like some of the stuff, like I always try not to look for too much logic in these movies and try to enjoy them. But part of me was like, Wanda, when someone's like, well, what are you gonna do with these other boys' real mom? They're Wanda, and like she never really came. Like, did she get that evil that quickly? And also the other thing I thought of was like, are you not going to want to go see a Vision? Why didn't you pick one where
it's like they didn't want to pay for it.
Or Paul Bettany was like doing something else that week, or who knows.
We need the money for John Krasinski.
Yeah, but like they could have easily
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, so it was all good. I mean, like, I wonder. I don't know. I loved it. I'm curious to see where it goes next.
Glenn Howard, that's your Mr. Fantastic. The guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's the guy. He's a Mr. Fantastic. That's like, get him. I'd say, even like I said, I brought up guy played Chibi in The Good Place. He'd be an amazing Mr. Fantastic.
He would be really good.
I'm sure every child on the planet would lose their shit because
God, that would be hilarious.
I would care less. I think he would be an amazing Mr. Fantastic.
Well, just based on the Chibi character.
He could be a total dumbass in real life. I have no idea. But he did a good job selling to me that he was a thoughtful, intelligent person.
Yep. Yeah.
Was never. See, that's the thing. Mr. Fantastic's always in his he's always in his lab. He has to be pulled out of his lab. And he's always he doesn't feel like he's doing things right. He feels responsible for making the thing into the thing. He feels responsible. He's and you don't get that vibe from Krasinski. I don't think he can sell that.
Yeah.
I just don't. He's like a American Boy character. He's what was it? The Good Place or no, Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place.
Yeah. I just don't believe it. Like I said, I think Glenn Howard, is that his name? Glenn Howard, is that his name in Always Sunny?
I forget. I don't think that's his real name.
Okay, whatever. The guy who was in Always Sunny.
Right. Danny DeVito. That's who you're thinking of.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Yeah, I think Danny DeVito would be an amazing Mr. Fantastic. A short little ball of a man. Stretch him out. Hey, look at me.
Well, I think that would all be good. I do think it's kind of interesting how and this is kind of a good segue into the next one too. We don't have to jump there quite yet, but it seems like Ant-Man or the Ant-Man story is kind of driving a lot of the narratives here, the notion of the quantum verse and there being these other realities and everything. And it's just weird. I see Ant-Man popping up a lot. I saw there's Ant-Man pops up again in Ms. Marvel.
Multiple times. But is there an Ant-Man reference in
No, not
in, well, they do make references to all the bug heroes.
Yeah.
He fucks out. I love that when they're talking into America they're getting food.
Oh, about Spider-Man.
Talking about all the characters, talking about Spider-Man, and instead of the webs come out of his butt like a spider, and he's like, you know what? I actually can't say.
Right.
I met him. I can't say no. I can't.
Yeah, he's like, I hope not.
Okay. Remember, he doesn't know who Spider-Man is anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it is possible that's the joke. I don't know. He knows who Spider-Man is, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, so he knows even less about Spider-Man now. Because in the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, he puts that spell that no one remembers Peter Parker at all. No.
It is. It's funny.
All right, let's talk about Ms. Marvel.
Yeah. I liked it. I know I talked to you about it a little bit before we started recording. I saw this episode 4. I liked it a whole bunch, but I almost liked it just because I like these characters. I like spending time with these characters. I liked it less as a superhero show and more as this is kind of a cool show where this girl goes to Pakistan, and it was just a real fun episode, but it worked less well for me as a superhero thing. I got a lot of Eternals vibes from it. And, it was wow.
These are the clandestine characters.
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted mythology.
That's the problem with and this is where I think people have a hard time, and I think MCU is going to have a hard time, is when you introduce these groups like clandestines, the Inhumans, the X-Men, all these different factions, and
you
start to the Eternals, you start to realize a lot of this shit is just almost the same thing.
It is it.
And in a movie, it's more in a movie or TV, it becomes more glaring that all these different groups are not that unique. It works in comics because people are buying comics, but some people are just buying 2 comic books, and that's it. Back in the day, they were just, if they bought the Destined, which was a series, they probably weren't buying in the Inhuman series. But
right.
with the movies and TV and how it's consumed, like if you're a Marvel fan, you have Disney Plus, you're probably gonna end up watching all the shows. And
back in the day,
seemed like the Eternals. Like, what's the fucking difference, you know? And
I bought a few books when I was buying comic books as a kid. Reliably, I bought a couple of the different Spider-Man titles, and I bought Fantastic Four, and I bought Doctor Strange, and I think that was about it. You know, I mean, I really didn't buy. I wasn't super into X-Men. I didn't buy a lot of the other books. So like this idea of a larger universe, it never really clicked for me. Like there'd be guest appearances here and there, but the movies are kind of like predicated on this big interconnected universe. And you're right, like some of these things are just like they merge like together.
The dark Scarlet Witch stuff, which always was like mostly in the Avengers comics, almost kind of comes off similar to how the Dark Phoenix saga.
It's Dark Phoenix. Yeah. In my head, that's exactly what it is.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like literally a redhead woman turning getting out of control of their powers and becoming evil.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a trope in general, like the out of control woman or whatever.
Those redheads, man.
Yeah. Right. I'll tell you. Well, my wife is a redhead.
I know, I'm just fucking.
So anyway, Miss Marvel, man, the actress who plays Ms. Marvel is so good, and the supporting cast is real good, and it's got like a real interesting historical bent to it. That partition of India is like very interesting.
Pakistan.
Yeah. Well, when they partitioned
Pakistan,
yes. India and Pakistan. And the setting, and I like how they film it, I presume on location. It's all like so cool and interesting looking. But then when like we're the clandestines and we're a jinn, but we're not really a jinn, we're like anybody would be a jinn.
We're not like a jinn like you know.
Yeah.
And then the Red Daggers was like another thing.
Red Daggers show up, and I'm like, are they part of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Or were they like, I mean, like, obviously no. But like, that's where my head is going. Red Dagger
faction of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's where my head is going, is like.
Well, I like the ending with her in like the 40s or something.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, these shows tend to follow a pattern on like the Star Wars and Marvel shows on Disney Plus, where if they're like 6 to 8 episodes, whatever, the like second to last episode always has this kind of like big revelation about the character that takes place before they have their final battle, whatever, in the last episode. And I feel like they're kind of setting that up with her like ending up in the past, that she's going to learn more about her powers and learn more about what she is, and she'll become like her more what she really is in the comics in the end, her actual outfit. But you know, it's because like Obi-Wan, kind of similar to that. It wasn't until like, you know, the 5th episode was kind of like the revelations about Reva and like you know, more stuff with Obi-Wan, and you know, with like the flashbacks with Anakin, and setting up for the last episode. And then like same thing, like Falcon Winter Soldier, that second to last episode, where Falcon's like deciding, do I want to take up the mantle of Captain America? WandaVision, that second to last episode.
Yeah. Even Hawkeye with the Kate Bishop stuff is like they all had that same rhythm. But I do like the show a whole bunch. I like it a whole lot. I think I like it more as just a show, like a generic superhero type of show. I think I like it more like that than I like it as part of the MCU currently. And
I might coughing. I do have a deadly pandemic in my lungs.
And I am willing to like. I certainly think like, oh, I will one day, or I will soon see this as being a better fit within the MCU. But right now, I just really like it as a show, you know, and I think that's how I enjoy it.
I like the characters, I like the family. You want a fun little fact? The kid who plays like her friend, the inventor guy.
Yeah.
He was up for the role of Peter Parker when.
I could totally see that. Tell. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
You can totally tell that he probably was like in the final list. So they hooked him up with this character.
Yeah, that's a nice consolation prize, I suppose.
Yeah, you get to be still in the MCU and
This would be the steak knives to the Cadillac of Peter Parker. This would be
kind of. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
The Peter Parker Cadillac versus like the microwave.
Yeah.
Not even a good one. Just a microwave.
But it was good. I mean, I just really root for this show because I think it's real cool what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I do I think it's just great to have a character that's, I don't feel like, they're just like, oh, I'm Kamal and I'm a Muslim.
It does.
I feel like, no, they're going really deep into like the culture, from the history, about I didn't know about that, the partition thing.
Yeah,
I really didn't know about that.
I just knew, because I used to teach world history, and that was like a big deal in one of the units, and
I just didn't, or maybe I forgot, I just didn't know, but like, that's great. And I think it's just good to have. I feel like the actress who plays her is great, and I think she'll be a great addition to the MCU. And like when Sony acts like a bunch of jerks and tries to take Spider-Man away from Marvel again, at least they would have like a Kamala Khan character type thing.
Yeah.
And then her friend can be like, I always liked wearing red and blue spandex, and I shoot out chains out of my wrist.
It's funny to say that though, but like this is, in a lot of ways, it feels like a Spider-Man reboot. Like
I mean, there's some. I mean, the whole style of the show when it comes to like the cartooniness, like the drawings, like those animations. It was very similar to like the first Spider-Man movie, MCU one, not the Tobey Maguire one.
Right.
I don't know. I liked it. I look forward to the next one. Like I said, I don't have any expectations for it. I enjoy it.
Well, the other
to say about it.
Yeah. We're also going to talk real briefly about two other shows we kind of both have been watching. For All Mankind, that we just finished episode 3 of season 3, and Strange New Worlds, the new Star Trek over on the Paramount Plus.
I mean, I only saw 2 episodes of it. I don't really have anything to say about it. Strange New Worlds, I just think it's a lot of fun. If you like the original Trek series, this is definitely a good update. And it's funny because it makes me, I was telling Joseph about this before the podcast, it makes me think of the show The Orville, which is actually really good, believe it or not. It was pitched as like this like parody of Star Trek, and it ended up being like
an homage.
The first couple episodes of season 1 were kind of dumb, but they ended up becoming very serious. They still have like humor in it, but like it's done to service the plot and not just be like a Peter Griffin thing where he's like, that's like that time I was a cat, like they don't do that in the Orville. And then I feel like the people who are working on this show are like taking notes from the Orville, which is funny because the Orville should be like a pending lawsuit against them because it's a ripoff of Star. It's such a massive ripoff of Star Trek that it's funny that they're like kind of like taking ownership back with Strange New Worlds and bring back that more like
episodic,
more modern take of a classic Trek.
I always hesitate to talk about Strange New Worlds too much because I don't want to give people the impression that I think it's like the best show on TV or revolutionary or anything. But man, I really, really look forward to it every week. And it's a lot of fun. And some episodes work better than others. And, the most recent one wasn't my favorite. But it's such a great show. The characters are great. The acting is great. It's a good mix of kind of like cheesy earnestness, while also it's like pretty fun and dramatic. It feels like it was made in the late 60s, early 70s. The scripts, the
guy who plays
Spock.
Spock is great. I think he does a good job of like kind of being his own thing and not like look at me, I'm Spock, I'm Leonard Nimoy. I think he does a good job of like making his own thing. The girl that got to play like a younger Uhura is great. I mean, that one character I don't care for. She seems like a jerk. Joe seems the number 1 or whatever. I'm only 2 episodes in, so
I get a lot of those. Now there's one I think number 1 is actually Rebecca Romaine.
No, that's not it. Then they rescue her in the end of the first episode.
Yeah,
I'm talking about that other person.
She reminds me. I know who you're talking about. She's like the chief of security, and she reminds me of a character on The Expanse, that sci-fi show on Amazon.
I think I watched that.
That was great. But anyway, she's a little hard. The one I don't love, and I feel that I like the actress, and I think she plays the character well, but is the navigator, the pilot. She's got kind of like a jagged haircut, and she's like the cool.
She's all right.
She just seems like real stock character to me.
Like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in, so I don't really have a good feel.
Yeah,
I'll keep watching it. I enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun.
We got Paramount Plus, and we got it without the commercials. And let me tell you, it's worth getting. I might consider down the line getting Hulu without the commercials either, because these shows flow so much better without commercials. And they go by quicker. And yeah, you can like Hulu is funny because it'll show stuff that clearly was not designed for a commercial break, and they'll just throw a commercial break in it.
Yeah,
like YouTube is too. Like I watched recently the 3rd season of Snowpiercer.
Okay, yeah.
Max. I mean, you could totally tell that show is designed for commercials because they had all these like harsh breaks,
right?
But then it would go into the next scene, but it'd still be that like 1 second, and there's like, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe. I'm like, I'm so glad I watched this show on HBO Max, not with the commercials.
Yeah,
because like half the show felt like there were supposed to be commercials there.
Right. It's real. Yeah. That's
funny. What else? I don't know. It's good. And then For All Mankind, I mean, we're only 3 episodes in.
Yep. 4th one dropped tonight. Haven't seen it yet.
So it's definitely, the first episode was kind of stupid. It felt like a 70s disaster movie.
It really did. It 100% felt like the kind of show I used to really love in the 80s.
So there's like, it takes place now in the early 90s, and there's a lot of talks about going to Mars, and they have a date planned for Mars. It's like 94, 96 or something. And there's a space hotel.
Yeah.
That the ex-wife of, what's his name?
Ed.
Ed's ex-wife, her new husband. They got a space hotel. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I was like, fine. There's like this whole thing with gravity. And I was like, it felt like I'm watching like a cheesy sci-fi show now.
Yeah.
And like it was because For All Mankind's a show where it's like historical fiction or something. So
it's like alternate history or something.
So basically Russia lands on the moon first, setting the course of basically setting the course of mankind in a different direction, where the United States becomes more competitive. And that by doing that, pushes the government to put more money into NASA, pushing NASA to go even further. And by the 90s, they have a well-established moon base on already established in the 80s.
Yep.
And the fact that they're going to Mars, and they have plans to go to like all the freaking moons in the galaxy, like in Jupiter and all that. And it is perceivably a real thing because they're actually doing it. Yeah. And it's kind of sad in this universe. It's different at this point. Spoilers. Every season they've done these things where it's like Ted Kennedy in the first season becomes president because he doesn't go to Chappaquiddick, and he ends up. So that's like the big change. Ted Kennedy, he's only president for 1 term though, because the mistress thing bites him back in the ass. The one who didn't die in Chappaquiddick in real life. Ronald Reagan's president, which we talked about that. You can listen to us like a month or 2 ago. We talked about season 2. I said I didn't care for the Ronald Reagan thing. It made no sense to me that he would become president. Whatever.
Sure.
He's president earlier, and he's probably a different kind of Ronald Reagan. Probably still conservative and awful, but a different kind. It was like 76 to 84. Then Gary Hart, they do like this quick recap of everything going on.
Yeah, it's a great 5 minutes.
It jumps like 8 years, 8 or 10 years from season 2 to 3. So they're showing you that Gary Hart was president. which in our reality, Gary Hart was always considered a major contender.
Yeah.
Then he got called in the affair.
The Donna Rice thing, yeah.
Like he probably would have beat Reagan in '84 if he ran.
Yeah, probably.
There's a really good chance. Mondale ended up taking that. I think that was supposed to be Gary Hart, actually.
Yeah.
Or was it '88? I don't remember. Might have been '84. Because I think by '88, they would talk about him and just say, like, that shit went out the water.
Yeah.
And then now it's like fictitious. Now the character from one of the characters from the show who kind of got more into politics, she's now president of the United States.
Yeah, Ellen.
She beats Clinton.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting scene. And Ellen, like, they're kind of building her, in my opinion, to be like a John McCain character.
Yeah, well, they talk about they wanted John McCain to be the vice president. Yeah. And they said it's like almost like the same person in a way. And they ended up getting some like really right-wing Christian to be, because I guess she's the Republican, and she's the character that is really a lesbian.
Yep.
She has a fake marriage with her husband. He's
and gay. They have a real kid.
Yeah. But they have a kid now. They're really, they show them kind of like in the last season, kind of having with this fake marriage, and like, but they're all like, he has his boyfriends, and she kind of was always busy with space, but she has that affair again with that young girl from the first season.
It was it was a cool dynamic, because like I don't have any knowledge of this, but I would imagine that stuff like that happened. They really, those two, the husband who was gay and Ellen, the wife, they really loved each other. It just wasn't romantic.
No,
a romantic love. I mean,
they clearly, as she became more ambitious politically, and he understood that too, they realized they're going to hide it even more.
Yeah.
And I guess they have the kid. I'm sure it'll come out this season. I bet it comes out. But
well, yeah, my guess is that she this is like a moment for her that she comes out as
especially with like having the hardcore like Christian.
Yeah.
So in this world, and I don't want to talk too much about it because we're only 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
And there's no AIDS.
Yeah, we texted back and forth about that.
The Soviet Union's still around.
Yep.
Because it didn't dissolve and had the space race to keep it going. Soviet Union's still a thing.
If there's AIDS, they haven't mentioned it, And
I don't know if there's AIDS. AIDS was really they had first early cases were in the late 70s?
Yeah, I think they called it GRID back then. It was like,
and then it really blew up when Reagan was president.
Yeah. I remember when AIDS was first coming about, like Miami.
Could have been controlled more. Different presidency, different time, different focus.
Yeah.
But less of it seems like the politics of this world are not so culture war bullshit as much.
Yeah.
Decisions for, even though like Ted Kennedy was because of an affair or something.
Well,
it's hard to gauge I don't know. Like, did you see how they kind of mentioned Trump this season?
Yeah.
They dropped his name. I hope they don't have him be like a threat to her.
Me too.
Like, just at this point in this world, Trump would never be able to run for president. It's like a totally different world universe. Yeah. They introduced this guy who's kind of like a Elon Musk person or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has this company and he wants to privatize and basically get to Mars first. He wants to be like outside of the Russia-US conflict.
Yeah, he's like a mix of Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and Paul. He's like a mix of all these kind of like new modern industrialists.
They use the Zappos model, like where no one really has any title.
They all, yeah. It is interesting. And the basic dynamic here is that NASA is changing, and so Ed leaves NASA and goes with this.
Well, he kind of gets. So there's like this whole plot where they're gonna go to Mars, and the one woman who became blind, she's like fully blind now. She gets like power hungry or whatever, and she decides that Ed's the one that's gonna go up. And then what's her face? The redhead, the one that's having like the kind of weird affair with the Russian guy, Margot. She's like, what the fuck? No, I'm the one that decides this shit. She's going. And then Ed kind of had, what was her name? The one that's going instead?
Danny. Danielle or Danny.
The one that did the handshake in the second season.
Yeah.
The one that did the shake that like stopped the nuclear war from happening.
Yeah.
In season 2. And then Ed goes on this bizarre, like she visits him at the bar, and Ed goes on this kind of like old white guy racist drunk thing. Like, oh no.
I thought that was like a great scene because like Ed, it's a weird one. Ed is a hero and we kind of like Ed, but like he's also real old school, you know, and
really old, because this is still only the 90s. So imagine like a guy who's, they say, is pushing 70.
Yeah, he fought in the Korean War, you know, and so I mean, he's an older guy, and he is
with the space program from the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's sexist and racist. I mean, I don't think he's like a racist. I think he'd be the kind of guy that tries to do the right thing, but a lot of it's kind of built in him. And I don't know. It was very.
I don't think he's I don't think he's supposed to be a bad person, but he got pushed to the side, and he unfortunately went the worst way possible.
Yeah.
You know, he could have just said, I'm the senior one. I'm the one that like I worked my way for this, and he could just stop there. And then instead he turned it to like, you're a black woman, that's why you didn't go up first or some bullshit. And I was like, oh no. But I don't know. I don't want to go into it too much. We have other things to talk about. I mean, like, I'm trying to think. Like, the thing with Margot is kind of stupid, but we kind of saw that coming. I think it's really funny. They show over the decade of her going to England.
Yeah.
The whole fucking time, this guy was like trying every way possible to get her to go in his room.
Yeah.
And then finally she breaks down and go in his room, and it was always just a setup. Now, you know that this guy really cares about her. I truly believe he does. What's his name? Dimitri or whatever?
Dimitri, yeah. And he's the Russian version of Margot.
Yeah. I truly believe that this character truly cares about Margot, but he's also like doesn't want to end up like on a wall or something.
Right.
And they're knocking on the door, and they basically say that, like, she's like, I don't give a shit what you say. Like, go ahead, tell them. But they're like, he's like, I didn't really give away any secrets. So, like, do you think the FBI is gonna believe you? Like, the Russian agent guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, this show's good. They show some pop culture stuff, and I'm like, this universe is so different now. So they play 90s music in the background. I don't mind it because it's like, it's not like, hey, one of the characters like turning on the radio and going, did you hear that new sound from Soundgarden?
Yeah,
you know,
it's less. It's less
more like it's like background music. It's not like designed for the series. Like the characters aren't listening to it.
It is less. Yeah, it's more like soundtrack than part of the narrative. You know.
Yeah, like it's in this universe because we perceive this as the 90s, and of course they're going to play all the 90s music, but like at this point the world is so different. It's in a totally different direction. I just can't imagine that the pop culture would just be so different. It just would be. Like, I mean, you got people that are actually going to Mars. I mean, there'd probably be more Mars focused movies, Mars focused horror movies. Like,
I'll say a couple things kind of at the end. Like, one is I'm pretty sure they're gonna find life on Mars, not like a little green man or anything, but like bacterial life. And
if there's water, there's a good chance there's life now.
And I'll bet you that brings a conflict between Ellen, the president, and the super Christian vice president, because Christians don't really have like a good explanation for life elsewhere. Like, that doesn't kind of factor into their plan. The other thing I'll say is that I think the parallels between Margot and that Nazi from season 1 are really interesting, because
I mean, is it fair to call him a Nazi? I guess. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing, is that like she was unrelentingly harsh on him, even though he was a nice guy, but like he worked as a scientist he
mentored her too. Clearly mentored her, helped her get to that,
and he kept saying like advice. I just did the science, like I pursue science, blah, blah, blah. And now Margot's in a position where she's like really fucked up, like she's kind of like betrayed her country to an extent, and she's doing it. That's her excuse, is I'm just doing it for the science. I'm just like, and so
she didn't realize she was doing it. That's the thing. She like the thing is that guy knew what the SS was doing. But he also knew that he also, if he wanted to live and be a scientist, he just kind of had to ignore it.
Yeah.
Her, on the other hand, she's making an excuse for herself. Like, I'm just talking shop with my friend.
Yeah, but she's talking shop with her friend, like, through messages and records. And
she claims that she's not bad because she's not giving him information, like, when it comes to nuclear.
Yeah.
She says, I'm not going to give you that. Like, I don't even have, like...
Yeah, but I think
I'm not going to... But
I think that Nazi guy, the German scientist, also had these little excuses like, well, I didn't build gas chambers. I built, airplane engines. I mean, he had like these rules.
Right, of course.
He could.
No, I know what you mean. There's like that weird, like, I think her case is not as bad as his case.
Oh, well, yeah. I
mean, he was literally working with the Nazis.
He was a Nazi. Well, the last thing I'll say about this is that, again, at the end of episode 3, they jump forward 2 years. This show does those time jumps so well. And it makes, if you had told me like, oh, one episode is going to have a 2-year time jump, I would say like, oh God, that's got to be like this monumental moment in the No, this show does stuff like that all the time. They'll jump months, years.
Well, I think it was a good way to like wrap up the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So, and it made me feel good watching it. It was like, yeah, it's like a cliffhanger, but like it's not like a crazy cliffhanger.
Right.
So because it's got some closure to it. I will say real quick, let's just talk about the billionaire guy. There's something up with that guy. That guy has
Hank Scorpio.
Yeah, he's definitely Hank Scorpio from The Simpsons. Like there's something totally up with that guy. There's like a weird culty element to it.
Yeah.
Like I have an office here. Bullshit. He has an office. The whole place is his office. I love that whole mentality. Like, I'm just like you, except, I make like 400 times more than you.
Right.
Now the guy could be, you find out he could be a truly genuine character who truly wants to get to space and thinks that it should not be a government behind it, but like all mankind. It's interesting too. It reminds me of like so if you notice, he gobbles up all these like senior people from NASA. It makes me think of like WCW in the 90s when WCW started gobbling up all the old veterans from WWF, like Hulk Hogan and like Ultimate Warrior, like Randy Savage, like in the early mid 90s. WCW just gobbled all these guys up. And some of these guys were kind of washed up at this point, but just bring them into a new thing so they could give some cred to this organization. And that's kind of like what he's doing here with Ed's ex-wife, getting Ed in there and then getting that other guy who's been there forever. What's his name? The guy who works like in
he reminds me of Melvin from Office Space. Reminds me of the stapler guy. What's his name?
Oh no, he's not like that.
He reminds me of him though.
That's mean. No, he's just like a guy who's been there forever, and he's the one that had that great moment last season with that.
That was real. Name? It's like not Alondra. Is it Alondra? It's something like Alondra. Or
there's some like, so they're just gobbling up all the veterans from NASA, get more information out of them, give them more money. I like though that she is, and that's a good point, that she gets offered that position and she says, no, I'm gonna stick with Margot because Margot is almost like a second mom to her away, or like,
well, Margot sent her to the moon. It was a really cool scene.
She's the one that saved her in a way in the second season, got her out of like her worst moment. And so I think they are definitely building up conflict. She's gonna find out that Margot like was helping the Russians out or something. That's that happens in season 3.
You're gonna have the Alondra. I don't think her name's Alondra, but it's something like that. You're gonna have Alondra be young Margot yelling at the older German scientist. You're gonna have a replay of that exact same scene.
And then you're gonna have what was it? I like the whole. I'm trying to think. I like the thing with Gordo. Is that his name? Gordo, the son.
Yeah.
That guy sucks. Like the difference between Gordo was like, even as a dumb drunk as he was, at least he was like fun to be around.
He was fun. He had a heart of gold.
Fun, happy looking person. The son is just like, he's a weird obsession with this older woman that was like his mom's age.
Yeah.
And like, I just love that he's still obsessed with her.
Yeah.
And then he's like cheating on his current wife, like his dad did.
Yeah, and his current wife, it's so weird because you wonder like about
a 60s character.
Totally. She is wandering around their house. This is mid-90s in like high heels, and she's like preparing a roast.
Like Donna Reed.
Yeah, it was very and I know they're doing
like what was that movie called, that cheesy horror movie?
Stepford Wives.
Yeah. Like she's like a Stepford wife.
They have to be doing that on purpose. They made it so clear that she is like an anachronism in the 90s. You know, everyone else is kind of like moved forward, but like
and you're not even just moved forward, you're like insanely moved forward.
Right.
This isn't I mean, like
you have a female
more advanced society than we are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like they have technology that like would probably rival ours now when it comes to like I don't know if they have social media or anything like that, but they have like in a way it's like maybe it's a good thing they don't have social media.
Yeah.
Bypass that shit and like ignored it, because that would just add rot, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good show. We'll see where it goes. My fear is as it gets further away from our reality, it can get really good or just become super corny and lame. I feel like, especially in the first episode, I felt like the budget got cut a bit. It didn't seem as like, but then the other episodes looked better.
Well, I will say that the thing I loved the most about season 1 was, like most Apple shows, it looked amazing, and the 60s aesthetics were just, everything was spot on. Like the food they ate and the products and the cars and the buildings, and it just was like, wow, this is.
But even like now you get into this weird territory, like the cars would not look the same as they did in the 90s. And you probably would have like different forms of energy at this point, because they're going to be, you know, when the guy's talking about methane, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you can't use methane to blast off. See, that's like, okay, so they set up where the space hotel fails, and that guy, the privatized space guy, he contacts Ed's ex-wife and wants to buy it from, because he's going to use that basically as a spaceship.
Yeah, he's just going to put a few rockets on it.
And she talks about like methane or something like that. It's like you can't really use it to blast off from Earth, but you could definitely use it to blast off from the moon.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, they're limited in some ways. Like they can't invent a new type of car and then like put a bunch of those on the film.
No, they don't have the budget for that. This isn't a movie. I mean, it can be somewhat inventive, but like the world at this point is just so different. It just is. Like you have completely different administrations. Like fine, Ronald Reagan was president for 8 years, but it's not going to be the same Ronald Reagan. It's just not. There's no Iran-Contra in this universe. There's no like it probably wasn't as Christo-fascist as the Ronald Reagan presidency was, because he didn't need the evangelicals to get elected like he did with Carter. It's just a different world, and now you have a female president in the 90s, the early 90s.
Well,
like, she's Republican, but like she's not what we know a Republican now.
No, and honestly, like if she comes out during her administration, she'll be like the first female lesbian president, you know, which is being
first male lesbian president, which was Bill Clinton. You ever heard that when they'd say that he was the first black president?
Yeah. Yeah, that I remember that. I remember when Bill Clinton was running and everything. I remember watching the debates and thinking, this guy's never going to be president. This governor from Arkansas, and then he became president. And I remember a lot of black people at the time, like on TV, which certainly isn't
Instagram.
What?
My dad's on Instagram. Sorry.
But which wasn't representative of all black people, obviously. But like they would talk about how like he was the first politician that like felt comfortable around black people, which I think was probably pretty true. You know, like you can tell when people feel comfortable around you. And I think that there's probably something there to that. But yeah.
Again, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, so it jumped a couple of years, so we don't even know what the world's like. You gotta understand now. It's like, so because also they weren't going to go to Mars in '96. This guy coming in saying, I'm going to go against the Mars in '94. Yeah, they just sped the shit up. And now NASA and Russia have to also go to Mars in '94.
Yeah.
And so that means the culture has moved even quicker.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Well, yeah, they did release the episode titles for all the
I don't want to.
I don't know them all off the top of my head, but
what's next week's though? Do they have? Ed drinks a beer.
Well, the next episode clearly to me is going to be the journey there, and the next big conflict is who's going to get to Mars first: the Soviet Union, the United States, or Dev.
Well, real quick before we wrap this up. One of the things I thought was fun too was it shows you like because of the space race, China tries to get in, North Korea gets in.
Yeah.
Like theirs exploded. So like the space hotel, basically the gravity got all fucked up because a piece of crap broke off from a North Korean rocket or something in orbit in space and knocked into the space hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. It was basically Gravity, the movie Gravity.
Yeah.
Basically.
Is that what the movie Gravity was?
Well, in Gravity with Sandra Bullock, I think it was North Korea. It could have been some other, but like a satellite or a rock, something exploded, and debris is what set all those events in motion.
That's the movie that like made what's his face go insane on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
This like insane diatribe. He just like went crazy on Gravity, like that movie. I remember that. Like
it's
that was
pretty
like
implausible.
Like
it's a great movie though.
He was like, no, this one. I don't know. That was like one of the things that definitely like elevated him because it got so much attention of him just trashing the movie Gravity. Yeah. I never saw it. I don't like Sandra Bullock that much. I don't know.
I like her. I think the movie was really great because the reason I watched it is someone said that like the first half hour is all one shot, like one continuous shot. And I thought that'd be interesting to see. And it's beautiful. It's really, really good. It's ultimately just sort of like a movie. But
that guy, I only know about her. She was in that really awful football movie. And she married that piece of shit reality show guy, Monster House, or that guy's name is.
Yeah.
He's the one that cheated on her with like a woman who had swastika tattoos.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying that Sandra Bullock has swastikas, but
probably
she was married. She was married to that guy, so this is a lot more about her.
Yeah, Jesse James or something.
Yeah, like there's pictures of him dressed up like as a Nazi too. So.
All right. Well, speaking of Nazis, the Supreme Court had a big.
Yeah. Speaking of Nazis, what a transition right there.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court decided. Okay, so I was like, I want to do an episode about this because like last Friday, Supreme Court came out finally and did exactly what we knew was going to happen, and they struck down Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
And then as a shock and awe event, they decided to strike down a ton of shit this week.
Yeah.
They basically claim that states cannot deny people concealed carry, which is absolutely insane.
Yep.
No one, New York City should not even have to listen to the Supreme Court in this situation.
Well,
as insane. They put in a thing that basically got rid of the EPA today, or will. I don't know how that works. Like, the EPA's just gone now? Like,
no, the EPA is still there, but they got rid of the regulatory, like their teeth, basically saying insane. Like,
it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it is. So, all of these things have in common one thing is that they are hamstringing the federal government and giving all the powers to the states.
They are basically doing, it's pathetic because it's like, okay, we beat Trump in 2020 and we have the Congress, we have the Senate, Dems do, and the Supreme Court's just like, yeah, fuck it. We're just going to do everything and we're in power for the next like fucking 3 decades. It could remain a 6-3 court for like another 15 years easily. Thomas is not, he's old, but he's not that old.
No.
He could live to 90. And then they ain't gonna let him retire unless the Republicans are there to let him go, you know?
Yeah. I just think it is that the Democrats, there's no reason why they shouldn't just start nominating more Supreme Court justices, because what the Republicans have done everything that was keeping the balance in check. Like, what was the deal? Like, oh, well, if you do this when we get in charge, we're going to get rid of Roe versus Wade. They already did. You know, if you do anything weird when we get in charge, we're going to not let anyone pass gun control laws. They already did. Like, they've already done all the things. And the stuff they have left to do, like, well, we'll make gay marriage illegal. We'll make, like, those would be so far out there that would spark, like, I think probably pretty significant protests.
I tweeted this thing, said the Republicans will never have to win an election again thanks to the Supreme Court. They don't have to. They don't have to win a national election.
They did something.
They got everything they wanted.
What was kind of buried in the news today was in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Supreme Court, which is all run by Republicans, ruled today that, okay, so when the Democrat took over for Scott Walker and a Democrat became governor of Wisconsin, he nominated all his cabinet positions. And the Republicans were just like, nope, you can't have them. We're keeping the Scott Walker's cabinet positions. They get to keep their jobs. And it went up to the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, and the Supreme Court said, yeah, that you don't get to have your own cabinet.
It's like, what's the point of elections? That's what they're doing.
Literally, yeah.
Well, they even did something recently. It said, like, it will basically fuck with the next election. Yeah. Where the actual presidency, the next presidential election, where they could easily just do another Bush v. Gore again.
For a long time. Yeah, for a long time, the Republicans have known that their positions are getting less and less popular. Their numbers are getting fewer and fewer. They can no longer win the popular vote. Like, I don't think Republicans. Yeah, they haven't in years. And
the last time they won a popular vote, it was by skin in the teeth, and it was in 2004.
Yeah.
That was the only time with George W. Bush won his second term, not his first term.
Right. And so they are putting all of their efforts into anti-democracy efforts. You know, they don't want democracy. They can't win with democracy.
Now, they never were interested in democracy. Fascists don't believe in it. And yeah, I mean, like, I think it's insane.
I don't see any reason why the Democrats, even if you don't have, I just do it by executive order. I don't know why they aren't just moving forward with this, you know, with whatever they need to, like I'm putting an executive order in, I'm nominating 5 new Supreme Court
Biden
justices. Today
announced that he was gonna have the Senate put in a thing to get rid of the filibuster so they could codify Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Did that today. And almost a week later, when it should have been that day, it should have been announced on Friday, last Friday, it should have been, I call the Senate to do a filibuster tonight to codify Roe v. Wade. No, he waited till Thursday, and then Sinema and Manchin basically came out and said, yeah, we're not going to back it. So that killed that. That's done. Well, I just don't understand how does the Supreme Court is 3 branches of government. You have executive, Congress and Senate, and you have the Supreme Court. How is the Supreme Court more powerful than the presidency and the House and Senate? It makes no sense. Now some dipshit come out and be like, oh, well, you liked it when they made gay marriage legal, or they made Roe v. Wade to begin with. You like that? I'm like, I don't know what to say about that. But that's like, if you look at like where the people want and what they're voting for and where the mass populations are, those are right to the time and everything. These are these insane, backwards, damaging to our environment, like getting rid of the EPA. That's insane.
Well,
so every state will be like West Virginia.
The good news is, and I know you and I've had this conversation a bunch of times before, and I 100% get the flaws in my theory here, but theoretically, if people vote, if you had more progressives, I'm not even going to say Democrats or Republicans, but if you had more progressives in government, you would have different results. You just would.
I mean,
and it doesn't have to be this big national thing. If you had a state like Virginia voted for fucking Glenn Youngkin last time. This is the shit you get when you vote like that, you fucking morons. You know, I mean, like, Glenn Youngkin was an anti-abortion zealot for his entire life.
Anti-masker. Literally won an election just being an anti-masker.
And Glenn Youngkin legitimately won. That wasn't redistricting or whatever. That was people went to the polls and more people voted for Glenn Youngkin than
I mean, it wasn't a blowout.
No, but he legitimately won. And all of a sudden he gets the authority to ban abortion in the state, and people in Virginia are freaking out. Well, guess what, dummies? He told you he was going to do that.
This is the problem people have. And I was going to talk about this last, but maybe we just talk about it now. People don't really understand the difference between Democrats and Republicans. They fall for bullshit from people who tell you like, oh, they're both the same. They're just two wings on the same bird. Red versus blue. They want you to fight each other. They want you to do this. And it's like, no, dipshit. That is such a like baby ignorant way of looking at it. The Republican Party puts so much effort into doing all these horrible things. They're not doing it because they're like, it doesn't matter, we're all the same. No, they're doing it because they have an agenda, and they're getting their way now with the Supreme Court because they did everything they could to make sure that the court was 6-3. And it worked out in their favor. And now they're abusing it. And they have to announce I guess we'll save that till later on it because I'm going more. So they have to announce other judges. This can't remain this way. Biden cannot. If they don't get rid of the filibuster, or if they don't stack the court, then this country's fucked. It's fucked. It's not going to be what you know it is. Well, Texas is going to get way worse because it'll have no restraint on it because it always fall back on the right wing Supreme Court. If there's a lot, like say Texas, like literally like banning gay completely. You know, sodomy laws. Or all these states are reverting back. Who do you think that targets? Like, it's literally targeting the LGBTQ. Like,
well, I mean, I look at like the log cabin Republicans, and I'm like, why do you guys even exist? Why do you exist?
They're a joke. Like, they should just become independents at this point. Join the Libertarian Party. The log cabin Republican is like it's a unicorn. It's just like it doesn't.
Well, I guess my point is that like you could easily
talking it too.
You could easily tomorrow have all these things you want. Like I don't know. It's just stunning to me. I get that there's always going to be dead enders and Christian death cultists and stuff, and there are people that are just that's who they are. That's what they're going to be.
It's so out of control, and you have like a guy like Clarence Thomas, who's one of the judges of the 6, and he's saying that like he just said the other day that the COVID vaccine has aborted fetuses were used to create the COVID vaccine. And it's like, oh my god, how is this guy a judge? That's insane. This guy, and the fucked up thing is, if he's saying it, you know, at least 3 other judges in there think the same. Yeah. You know, Amy Coney Batshit thinks that way.
Oh, she's
probably the one that told him that. I mean,
that's the scary part to me is someone like her who's already turned out to be just an absolute monster. And these are it's a rogue court with like a real clear agenda, and they all lied their way through the confirmation process.
I love like all these
straight
people,
up lied.
Well, we all knew they were lying, and everyone with a brain knew they were lying. Anyone that claims like Susan Collins, like, oh, they told me, fuck you, Susan. You knew exactly that they were liars, and you lied too.
But they all did, and now they're here, and they're all from that Federalist Society,
and they're going to be there forever.
Yeah,
until they're going to. These motherfuckers will outlive most of us. We will probably be dead before all 6 of those right wingers are gone.
Yeah, well, for sure, like Kavanaugh and Alito, and I mean, like Clarence Thomas is older, and he'll probably die relatively soon. But the rest of them,
Amy Coney Barrett will be there like 40 years.
I mean, she could be there for the rest of my life.
Yeah, frankly. She is literally what, in her 40s?
Yeah,
she could be there. Yeah, she could be there till she's 100 if she lives to 100.
And I just think you could make a really good argument to say that the Supreme Court, we used to have fewer members of the Supreme Court, and now we have more, and we got a lot more people in the country. It's crazy that
it's imbalanced. You can't have it be this way too. That's the other thing. It's too imbalanced, and the decisions they're making are like every Republican MAGA wish list. Like,
yeah. Well, and there's no rhyme or reason to it.
It's insane.
And now the thing that bothers me, the thing that bothers me the most is just like the naked way they're going about it. Like they just come out and said, "Oh, you know what? That Rover, they got it wrong. We're the ones that are getting it right. All that stuff before was wrong."
Yeah, I love these assholes are like, "Well, it's not bad. They're just letting the states decide."
But that's crazy. You're making because
the country more divided too when you do that.
Well, and it's they're choosing very unpopular positions. So, but that's the thing is how unpopular will it be? Like when
won't matter because they're in a lifetime position.
Well,
like I said, Republicans don't have to win. They technically don't ever have to win a national election again.
No, if you write a law and you pass it with a good majority, then the Supreme Court can't overturn it. They won't.
What I'm saying though is they are getting everything. It's as if like Trump didn't lose.
Yeah, right now that's true. However, if you and the House is the tricky part because you can gerrymander a House race, but all those Senate races are statewide races.
But you can suppress those votes.
You can suppress them.
You can suppress their votes.
You can suppress
those voting machines. Like, it's so funny they talked about Dominion so much and everything, and it's like, but you guys, the right wing usually loves voting machines because they usually fuck with the vote. There's always an impact they did.
I don't know. I think there's a path forward to this. I don't trust that people will do it. I read an article last week where it said basically like Americans are now to the point where they just accept it. And look, this was the argument.
It's a shock and awe.
Well, this is the argument the Chuds were making about masks. And I'm not agreeing with them. I'm just saying like, this is how they felt. They were like, everyone is just, they saw the masks as like this great affront.
They saw it because they saw a meme and they're dumbass.
I know, but
Rogan.
But that was their feeling, is that they felt like that people were just accepting it. And I think for a large part that's true. I think there were a lot of people that didn't like mask mandates, and they just accepted it.
I think it was a common sense thing to do.
Well, of course. I mean,
I feel like I got COVID because I laxed on masks, and for a little bit, and because of that, I'm doing better now, but like, I hope my wife and kid are okay. You know what I'm saying though? But like, those dipshits that were screaming like last year, my body, my choice, because the vaccine and stuff like that. These are the same assholes that are like having a parade because abortion's basically been destroyed in this country.
Maybe that wasn't the best example, but my point is that if you told a 19-year-old woman today, Roe versus Wade is gone, and they get worked up over it and they go protest and they feel very strongly about it. Come November, if they haven't had any experiences with the need for an abortion, or if they haven't run into any of their friends without that, are they going to feel the urgency to go vote?
No.
That's probably the thing. Not. That's it. And that's the I don't know. It's not like as simple as saying this is an attention span problem.
I just think it's fucked up because it's like you have these rights that were there for a lot of people in this country's whole entire life. That anyone who's like under like the age of 48,
well,
their entire life.
Both our wives both of our wives spent their whole lives with that right.
Yeah.
And now it's not there.
And it's insane. You can't take a right away. And that's the thing. And the right wing always, they never wanted a Democratic president. And if they got a Democratic president, they always wanted to make sure to cripple them so that because they knew once you put a right in, it's impossible to take away. But now the Supreme Court, they don't give a fuck. They're just we're going to take away your rights. And you know what? You're freaking out now about this. But guess what? We just got rid of the EPA too. We just got rid of concealed carry as well. Have fun trying to process all of this at once.
Well, that's the thing. It's
shock and awe.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Because what do you do? It's very, very taxing because
it's like Biden's like, I think we need to again, like 6 days later, saying today we need to codify Roe v. Wade and get rid of the filibuster for this. What about the EPA? What about the concealed carry thing? There was some other insane thing that they voted on today, the other day.
The school prayer one.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit. You know what? Well, like that means like I should be like if I was a teacher, I could have a Baphomet statue hanging.
Well, and they got in their ruling, they just misstated the facts. The Gorsuch, when he wrote the ruling, said that this coach lost his job because of it. It didn't happen. The guy quit. Like the basic, they're rewriting.
They try to victimize this guy. Yeah. He quit. You know what? Fuck these people. Your fucking religion is your fucking religion. Yeah. It's not mine. Keep it to your fucking self. I'm so sick of these people. I'm sorry. I'm glad. This is like one of the main reasons why I'm glad I got the fuck out of Texas because that. Yeah, but it's what?
But it doesn't stop at state lines anymore.
I understand that.
I mean, like,
but it's in certain areas. It's like really bad. And
I agree, but like
I remember we would look at the Facebook pages of old Rogers teachers back in there, and let me tell you, I bet you more than half of the people in that school, your kid isn't not going to go there anymore. Different school now. I guarantee you, they're all like, "Yay!" Right? My son's like first grade teacher was like an insane Christian nut. Like,
my guess is that is true, but like all it takes is one parent at any school in the country to say, I want to lead a prayer in the cafeteria, and they'll go to court and they'll win.
Like
they'll go to court.
That whole like see you at the poll bullshit.
Yep.
Now they're gonna be like, see you in the classroom.
Well, it's different when and nobody really acknowledged this, but when you're a kid, you feel naturally obligated to go along with.
Of course.
Things.
It's the same thing with like the school prayer thing in the football.
Yeah.
Like, you think any of those football players are going to question the coach?
No.
They're scared to.
Even if they're not scared, they are unduly influenced.
Yeah.
Even
there's
if
like a mob, there's a literal like mob rule there. Like, and the coach is wielding a power among them, and it's fucked up. It's so funny. All these like what was that? The fucking chud with libs of TikTok where they try to push this whole thing about teachers and grooming.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What about the religious prayer? That's fucking grooming, Like, I remember in like kindergarten or first grade, we found out the school teacher, the music class was having them do Christian hymns. And we were like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
It is. I guess I'll go back to the thing I said at the very beginning is I just don't see. Previously, we had like these guardrails where the Republicans were basically saying like, hey, look, if you guys get out of line, we're going to get rid of Roe versus Wade, and we're going to do school prayer, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And the Democrats were saying like, okay, well, if you guys get out of line, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And so all these years, you had this kind of uneasy piece where it's like, there were some limits on abortion, but abortion was available.
They didn't codify. They never codified Roe v. Wade.
Right. Well, no, they didn't. And there was some limits on guns, but like guns were still. So there were these kind of like compromises where nobody was really happy, but like nobody's like we are now. You know what I mean? Like nobody was like.
It's so insane. Did you see that thing though in Texas about the slavery?
Yeah.
That's insane. What did it say? Involuntary labor?
Yeah, I'd have to read that more, because when we used to teach these like migrations, and I mean they were taught up straight up as like slavery. Like there's big ones like the African slave trade was the biggest one, but we used to treat that as like, I mean, nobody shied away from calling it slavery and terrible and condemnable and all that, but it was kind of looked at intellectually as like a relocation. And I know that's bullshit, like to phrase it just like that, but there may be something there that's like less.
Come on, you know the roots of this is pure chuddery and racism.
Yeah, my guess would be that that's the case. I don't know. I mean, like at some point, like I was thinking about this as I was around today. At some point, you're going to get to the position where you have like legitimate colleges, you know, saying like, well, if you went to school in Texas, we're going to have to give you a test before you come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I bet you that's like that in parts of the country.
Yeah, like, because there are national standards for schools, but like the less those national standards come about, well, like you even have some of it today. When we moved from Florida to Texas, our kid had to take a placement test, you know, to say, let's see where you're at, you know, if you need, and it wasn't like anything super weird or creepy, but like, I don't know, at some point you're going to have kids like taught wrong things. So
it's happening now.
Yeah, I would say that, like, I don't know. I mean, having been a teacher myself, like, I think there's a little nuance here. And man, look, there's just some shitty teachers that will take a good curriculum and fuck it up.
Well, those are unique situations. I'm talking about making across the board decisions.
Yeah,
that's different. Like having a shitty teacher. I mean,
well,
yeah, that they exist. Shitty teachers suck, you know.
The other problem is that you may wind up having two textbooks, and you may have, like, if you look at the states that are heavily populated, off the top of my head, I'm going to say like California, New York, Florida, and Texas. 2 of them are super chud. 2 of them are pretty liberal. Textbook companies don't put out 50 different versions of textbooks. They just don't. Like generally, they put out a version. And if Texas is saying we need this, then there's going to be a bunch of other states that have to buy that textbook. And that's fucked up. Well, you might get, hopefully, California and New York agree to purchase common books. And
this is still like, it is absolutely insane that all these like decisions happening in the court and stuff like that. These are all attacks on the civil rights movement from the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, the funniest thing was, it's not funny. Didn't like John Cornyn say something? He brought up the case of interracial marriage.
There had to have been something else with it. I thought it was integrated schools or something. He brought up like, now let's do blank. And I was
and one of them was interracial marriages.
Yeah. I was like,
wow, John, you didn't, I didn't think you were gonna go full on racist.
Yeah.
But like Clarence Thomas listed all the other things that are going to go up. Obergefell, which I guess is the gay marriage thing.
Yeah.
And some others. And they said, wow, it's weird that he left out the one.
Yeah. Loving thing, versus Virginia.
Which is the interracial marriage, because he's married to Jenny Thomas, who's a white woman. Man, Clarence Thomas is a piece of shit.
Well.
And his wife's a piece of shit too. I'm sorry. This country, like, something has to be done about the court. If something's not done about the court, Biden is going to, one, lose the midterms completely.
Yeah.
And he's going to lose the presidency. That's just,
well,
it is sad. Like he can't just be like, well, I asked the Senate to do a filibuster.
No, you gotta freaking.
They said no. I'd be on TV right now, and I'd say, what the fuck is wrong with you two?
Yeah, I would.
I think you're in the wrong party.
Dude should be on TV every night. You should be on to say, like, look, Joe, I put up an article on Twitter today. West Virginia's got lower life expectancy than every state in America.
They come at 51 out of 50. They're below the Samoas or something.
And several of those were ties between American territories.
Like, yeah, they're not even states.
Yeah. West Virginia's lowest. And if you just like Google West Virginia health, like a lot of these towns have like fucking bizarre cancers. There's some where like all of them are dying. Like
life expectancy is like what, 74?
Yeah. It's like, and it's decreasing. It's getting worse.
Oh, so let's make the whole entire country like West Virginia. Brilliant.
Well, that's what you're getting, is that you're getting this tyranny of federalism where you have small unpopulated states dictating national policy.
Yeah, like the gun ruling, New York should have every right to be like, no, we don't allow concealed carry.
Here in New York, we don't fuck pigs, and we don't
we have carry more teeth than kin.
Yeah, right.
Then
here,
she can fuck.
In the land of indoor plumbing, we don't do things that way. You know what I mean? Like it just
the land of above room temperature IQs.
Right. Right. So
I mean, there has to be something. Something has to happen. If something does not happen, then this country is going to be unrecognizable. It's going to become further divided because you're going to have states that are going to have like insanely different governments. Like they're trying to find ways to trap people into the state, which sounds insane. So imagine like you're trying to get out of Texas.
Right. It's like fucking Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. Like,
well,
so basically you're trying to get out of the last area Texas gets in New Mexico, and there's going to be like cops at this new now.
It'll be like the last 5 minutes of Devil's Rejects, you know? It'll be like
literally like we live in one country. We're allowed to be able to travel from state to state. We're allowed to move from state to state wherever we want. This is it's like it's like these motherfuckers, they lost the Civil War and they're still holding a grudge. This is literally the revenge of the South. Like this
the sad thing is there is like 30% of the population that's all for this.
That's not the majority.
I know, but I'm just saying like there's enough there so that it's, I don't know, it is tough. But I do agree with you. I like Joe Biden has not that long to figure this shit out, because if we go into the midterms and the Republicans take the House, which it looks like they will, then and nothing really happens with the Senate, it's just they're all fucked. He's got to do something over the next couple of months. Roll the dice. This is the time when you have to. Yeah, it is.
I mean, if LBJ was president right now, he'd be calling Manchin and Cinnamon to his office.
Yep.
And he would be taking the biggest shit right in front of them.
Yeah.
Basically telling him like, I'm gonna fucking cripple you too.
Like, yeah, he pulled Joe Manchin and call him out on TV and say, look, Joe, I noticed West Virginia has plummeted in life expectancy.
And yours seem to be doing fine.
Yeah, but you're on your yacht. You know, I invited you over to the White House to talk about this, but you were busy with your oil friends on the yacht. And let's take a look at Minton, West Virginia, where like 70% of the people here have cancer. You know, and
then you can call out, and then you can call out Cinema and say, hey, it's weird how you had like no money before you were senator, but now you're worth millions and you take these really pro-corporate positions. Obviously, this is not going to happen.
No, but like, I don't know. It like when Trump was president, when he had his feelings hurt, he didn't send aid to California for wildfires.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm not doing it. And then he would like send buckets of money to Texas and Florida.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so tired of this. And I like Biden just fine, but he is shrinking from the moment.
I don't like him. I've learned, like, I'm looking at his tweets. And I mean, if he doesn't do anything, I ain't gonna like him. I mean,
yeah,
like, does something, and I will. But like these tweets of like pointing out how bad they are, saying ultra MAGA. What the fuck is that? It's just MAGA, or just say Republicans.
Yeah, you don't need to make it ultra.
They're more. The thing that drives me nuts about the moderate Democrats is they're more concerned about getting that 1% of Republicans to come out and vote for them than engaging and getting 20% more people to come out and vote for that don't really vote. They come out and vote for the Democrats.
Yeah.
And then who gives a fuck about those so-called socially liberal Republicans that you could probably get on your side? Those people don't exist.
Well, Biden said he's meeting with governors tomorrow, and that tomorrow he's going to announce his plans to protect privacy, Roe versus Wade and stuff.
Well, that's another. Okay, so here's a good example about Roe v. Wade. I'm going to bring this up in the podcast. Yeah. You saw all these companies announce, like, especially companies that have base operations in like Texas and other red states. We will pay for your interstate travel. We will pay for you to get. That's bullshit. One, I don't believe them. I think they just want to gain. They want to get those marketing bonus points by making that announcement. Like, oh yeah, look, that company cares about its employees. So let's say you work in a business in Texas and you're a woman. So now you basically have to tell the fucking company this private matter that the company should not have any business. You can just be like, listen, you know what? I'm calling in sick Friday, or I'm calling in sick Thursday and taking a 4-day weekend. If the woman is going to get an abortion, it's none of the fucking it's none of the fucking company's business. Isn't that like what Marjorie Taylor Greene said about hippo laws or some bullshit? And they asked her about a vaccine. She said, "Those are my hippo rights." So now this woman tells the company, tells her boss, tells her HR, and we're just gonna use Texas as an example.
Yeah.
Right. And then you find out, okay, they pay for it, whatever, but like the HR person is a super right-wing Christian fascist.
Yeah.
The boss loves Joe Rogan and thinks Ron DeSantis would be a great president. Guess what? That woman who got the abortion, when it's layoff, let's say a company needs to do some layoffs, that woman and any other woman that needed to get that out-of-state abortion because they live in Texas, they're going to be the first ones let go. Now, I know some chud would say good. Well, that's not good. Fuck you. First of all, imaginary chud. Hey, stay out of our podcast. That's the chud laughing. Scouring off into the distance with a sack of gold. Like those things in Golden Axe. Remember the game Golden Axe?
Yeah.
Remember the in-between stages? They would show
you
these like little like
that's
hobbit things would come with stacks and try to steal your money, and you have to hit them and like your food came out of them. Yeah, it's great. So that's fucked up. I know these businesses like Tesla claims they'll do that and all that. Fuck that. That is no excuse. These companies don't want to be held. They don't want to be held liable because they don't. They either like move their company to a place like Texas, whatever, to basically be a tax shelter, and they got a bunch of people from California to move out to Texas, and now these people are like, oh fuck, my rights are gone, and these companies are like, oh no, we'll take care of you.
It is bullshit. I think it's a legitimate offer, although I think it's a bad offer. I think they probably would be glad to pay for reproductive health care like that, birth control, abortions, or because
I remember Hobby Lobby was outright against any kind of birth control.
I'm just saying, like a lot of companies. I mean, Hobby Lobby is an outlier, but like big multinational companies, a lot of them, there may be things like they may have to if they're multinational. Some of these companies aren't even really American companies. They may be obligated.
Oh, I know. I worked for like Li and Fung for a while. The guy sold his company there.
They may be obligated by laws elsewhere that they have to do this. We don't know. The point
I'm saying though is that the woman should not.
Oh, she shouldn't have to disclose it to her.
No. Yeah. Like I said, I have to have a procedure done, and I need I'm taking Friday off. I'll be back Monday or whatever. Well, I have 2 days to recuperate, and the boss is technically not even allowed to ask what it is. But now, because they are in a state that denies this woman her basic rights, she has to now go to her company and tell them, I need to have this, not just somebody already in this precarious position. I now have to go tell the company, my boss, who I've seen on Facebook, like a Milo Yiannopoulos post, and I have to go tell them, hey, I have to get an abortion.
Well, and my thought is that if you have, and I know that these are all bullshit things to even have to talk about, but if you are working full time at a job that offers healthcare and stuff like that, then, and you really needed an abortion, then you could just do it on your own. You could get round trip airfare to.
That's insane.
I know. I know it's all bullshit, but I'm just saying these aren't the people. This isn't the real target. Like, those people are going to get reproductive health care if they need it, and they have the wherewithal to do it. I read today.
This is an attack on poor people, on working class people.
That's what I'm saying.
Marginalized people. That's really what it's an attack on. Like, yeah, I mean, okay, great. And again, we bring that up. Those are even small examples. You are lucky enough to work for a company that will do that for you.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just still don't trust them, and I think it's complete bullshit.
I agree. A
person should not have to tell anything. Like, you know.
Well, I read today, and I looked it up in a couple different places. It said, the article I was reading said 1 out of 5 pregnancies in the U.S. ends in abortion. 1 out of 5.
The one thing though that drives me the most insane about this whole thing is not even just like the abortion thing. It's the what's it called? It's the one where like there ain't even gonna be a baby. It's like the baby went down the wrong the egg went down the wrong
ectopic, I think.
That should not even be considered an abortion. That is so insane.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's the cruelty. Like, it's not even just like, okay, not even letting a woman decide what they want to do.
Well,
to have something that literally would threaten a woman's life for something that is not going to be a thing at all.
The Speaker of the House in the Mississippi State Senate said today that came straight out and said it, if a 12-year-old victim of incest should still have to carry the baby to term. Like, they don't fucking care.
No, they don't care. Every pediatrician came out that day too, like the head of like whatever pediatrics in this country said, no, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old should not have to have a child. That is not good for this isn't like we don't live in the 1400s.
Yeah.
You know, where like, you know, we don't live in the 1800s or the 1900s. People should not have to have kids at the age of 15.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll take, and I don't know. I think it'll take these things having to happen to change people's minds. I don't know.
It's not going to change anyone's mind.
I don't know.
It just won't. It's like the same thing. We always thought like for every anti-vaxxer that got COVID and died, it would change people's mind. It didn't. It didn't do anything. It was just another dead person, and they just said, "Oh, that person, that guy was a psyop. He was a plant." I don't think. I think a ton of people are just going to suffer, and until we can balance the court, or we get more progressives in there and more progressive states, less red states. But it shouldn't be that way. I think we are just rapidly fucked. We're just fucked right now. I don't think people who are pro-Republican or what the fuck it is, they don't care. They're never gonna, the media they consume, they will never know about the person who died of like,
I know. Ectopic pregnancy.
It's not gonna shift the balance. Yeah, there'll be a couple of people here and there, but it won't be enough to like shift the narrative. This is again, it's just it's so much to process. They got rid of this monumental thing that they've been talking about for like 40 years, these fucking people. And then on top of it, they throw in all that other shit. The EPA, that's worse than the abortion thing. Do maggot chuds, do they need to breathe? Do they need clean water? Or do they survive on like old tires?
Well, a lot of people, I think, really believe that. I don't know what they believe. I think they believe that they live in this sort of vacuum where, like, well, I need looser EPA restrictions so I can work at the strip mine, but certainly everyone else will stop polluting. You know what I mean? I think that they kind of like rationalize it in their head, like,
it's so dumb. The invisible hand of the free market will regulate.
Yeah, I honestly, I think
it will sell you NFTs. It doesn't give a fuck.
Well, I don't know. I still think, and I haven't had a ton of time to react to it, I still think that this is Biden's decision, and he's either going to be the big time player that makes bold moves, or he's going to be Nero fiddling his own birds.
He's going to be the president that abortion rights went away.
Yep.
FDA went away.
And did nothing.
I meant to say it. I didn't say EPA, but guess what? If they got rid of the EPA or weakened the EPA, you don't think they're going to get rid of the FDA in any way? Fucking most of the backers of Republican politics, it's oil, it's polluters.
Yeah.
Meat packing. It's
all disgusting, planet killing shit.
Yeah, like, and the fucked up thing is, I remember reading what was it, Fast Food Nation, and the guy's I ain't gonna tell you. He's like, I'm not gonna get some political here, but like, when a Republican's president, you might want to consider becoming a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Imagine they will get their wish list and just dissolve the FDA with and our FDA. These are like the funny thing about the EPA and FDA. They're actually it just shows you how greedy these corporations are in this country, how greedy the people behind it are, that the minor things that they have to do.
Oh, yeah, they don't want to do them.
So much more. Like, what do they say? Like, in Europe, they couldn't even sell half the shit that the Americans consume in Europe. It would be like illegal.
It'd be considered like non-edible or a non-food product or.
Did you see the other day Taco Bell announced a new like Cheez-It?
Yep, with a giant Cheez-It. Yeah.
And I said, I'm like, they are just becoming in the future. Taco Bell in like 5 years, Taco Bell is just gonna be like a bag of Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's all processed garbage. Like I remember Taco Bell years ago, like they had like peppers and onions, and they had like I mean they still have like beans and stuff like that, but like. It's becoming more and more processed shit.
It's great. My wife and I used to eat Taco Bell like not often, but we'd eat it regularly. That'd be like one of the places where we'd eat fast food. You know, probably like a couple times a month. You know, and then tonight we didn't want to cook, so we're trying to think of like stuff to eat, and we both were like Taco Bell, and then like we thought about it for like 5 seconds. We're like, nothing. It sounds horrible. Like
it's a snack. It's not food.
Yeah, it'd be fun to eat like in the middle of the day if you just want to whatever. But we wound up getting like Jersey Mike's. It's like twice as much. You get far less food, but like it's like recognizable product. Like, oh, that's a green pepper. That's that, you know what I mean? Like that's bread. That is actual bread. I think there's yeast in it.
Not a giant Cheez-It cracker like that. That could be. It's like they just want like a bunch of garbage they could keep on the shelf for like months. They don't have to worry about like
Taco Bell's.
Fast food place, they have to allocate those ingredients too. Well, like they have to get those lettuce and tomatoes. They have to get them somewhere. So you're just gonna see the FDA. Sorry, that was our advertisement for Taco right there. Right? We did such a good job. We earned that aha blast in the face.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, come through the drive-thru. I got something for you. Spray it all over your face. Regurgitated black.
Make it rain.
Make it rain. Make it mist. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a case that they dissolve the FDA. It would not shock me. I mean, so if Biden is the president, that because the problem is like we know that he's not the one causing these things,
right? Yeah,
but it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down with him.
Well, he in a lot of ways I can sympathize with him because I also feel this way. He's probably like going to bed tonight and thinking like, well, what do I do in the morning? What do I do the EPA thing? Do I do the gun thing? Do I do the prayer?
I mean, like, what
do I do?
Okay, so today Breyer retired, right?
Yeah.
And I guess Brown Jackson.
Brown,
when she already was confirmed into the court today.
Yes. So she swore her oath and she's on the court right now. But the court season is over.
What?
But the court's like season is over. They're
done putting in horrible things now?
Until next year, yeah. For now. I mean, they could have like an emergency ruling, but their period of like releasing.
So if I was Biden, I would announce 4 new judges. Yeah. That's the only. Okay, so if you can't get rid of the filibuster, you can put in 4 new judges.
Yeah,
and enter that into the conversation.
That's how Lincoln ended slavery. He put in a 10th justice.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's how what's his face got the New Deal.
Yeah.
Renewed the New Deal back in 30s or whatever. What's his name? Roosevelt.
Yeah.
He threatened to pack the court.
So I mean, I would I don't know.
I mean, like, it just sucks. It's like what I thought were bad faith actors coming out talking about how bad Biden was going to be. I feel like some of them were kind of true, that he's this kind of more moderate, very, very centrist Democrat who's too friendly with Republicans and is just not going to do the battle that is needed.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened. Look what happened from this year versus last year. And we're in a Democratic presidency. That's the craziest thing. We should be talking about big ideas. We went into the Biden's presidency and talking about fucking $15 minimum wage, and then that fucking bitch from Arizona, her little curtsy thumbs down thing, like it was a joke. Fuck you, America! Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
manic pixie douchebag. Fucking gave her thumbs down, and after that, it was never discussed again. And,
just gone.
And now we're like, well, maybe we could have some rights still,
Well, like, you're right. Like, we went in thinking we would get student loan relief, perhaps a livable minimum wage, an expansion of Obamacare,
better environmental restrictions,
better environmental. All of it's gone.
And then you find out, on top of the whole thing with Roe, that Biden made a deal with McConnell to put on some right-wing chud on the Kentucky Supreme Court. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah, it is real disappointing.
It's disillusioning.
I mean, like, if it's Biden's to win or lose. I mean, honestly, you're right. If he does not deliver on anything, if he's the president with a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House during all of this and he does nothing, I don't know if I'd vote for him. Frankly, I mean, I certainly wouldn't vote for the Republican, but I don't know what I would
still vote for him just because I would want to make sure DeSantis didn't win.
Well, or whatever. I'm overstating it, but like, it certainly wouldn't be a priority. I mean, I would not be. I would just vote for him in a precursory manner, and I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's just scary. I really am like, it's like, it's all these like weird nightmare scenarios, and this should not be happening. This is the kind of shit that, like, if Trump became president in 2020 again, I would have expected all this and been like, well, all we can do is hope that he loses in 2024. But instead now it's like, we have a guy who's in there and the party and everything, and we're supposed to be like, this isn't supposed to be happening.
Well, it is awful.
Well, again, awful. This is not the doing of the Democrats. This is the doing of the Republicans stealing elections and getting judges on the court.
Yeah.
But that's not what the history books are going to write.
No.
Or what the narrative's going to be.
Yeah.
Do you think the average person understands the Supreme Court?
No, I really don't. I don't think the average person understands government, to be honest with you.
Nothing. They don't understand shit. That's why, I know we were going to talk about January 6th, but let's talk about this first. The Rogan thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the average person understands anything. And that's why I think it's really easy to convince people to vote against their means now with language that they think, okay, so like a good example was the other day, Joe Rogan came out and he was talking to Gina Carano of the Ben Shapiro universe.
Yeah.
She has a movie now, I think, that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
And he said that he endorses Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
And people were like, how does one go from endorsing Bernie Sanders to Ron DeSantis? And I say it every time. He did not endorse Bernie Sanders. He was asked a question and he said, I kind of like Bernie Sanders. All he said right before primary. All he said. He didn't say, I will vote for him. And the Bernie Sanders campaign foolishly latched onto it.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who literally, even at that time, was talking shit about trans people.
Yep.
This was a bad move by the people working for Bernie Sanders, taking that bait. I don't think he really liked Bernie Sanders. I think he liked picking a guy that he knew was polarizing to the Democrats. I voted for Bernie Sanders, and nothing to do with Joe Rogan, but I think Joe Rogan has always been a right-wing agent. I don't think he's just some, they try to like, I don't get it. How he endorsed Bernie Sanders and then votes for supported Ron DeSantis. Well, he did support Trump.
Yeah.
And he would have turned on Bernie Sanders. If Bernie Sanders got the nomination, let's say, he would have said, well, I never said that I endorse Bernie. Yeah. I like him. I think he's a nice guy, but I think he's a little too far left. His ideas are not right. They're not American. And that's why I'm voting for Trump.
I think that Rogan doing shit like that is kind of how, like, I used to find it really strange. Like the same people who liked Motorhead also liked Johnny Cash, because they're like two completely different kinds of music.
I could see the crossover.
But there is a natural crossover because they both have that kind of same ethos or mentality. Like they'll both flip you off, or they'll both play at a prison.
The fans like signing crosses.
Yeah, you're right. But like theoretically, if you listen to like the Ace of Spades and I don't know, some Johnny Cash song, they have very little in common, as far as like music goes or whatever. But like the fans kind of look at those two artists and say, like Lemmy and Johnny Cash, and say like, oh well, like he's like me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like that with their politics. They don't think about it intellectually. They're like, well, that's how you get like, my favorite politicians are Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. Right. Like, and they won't even get that Elon Musk isn't a politician. They'll be like, well, he talks about taxes. He's a so like
that. Yeah, like they'll talk about like, okay, so Joe Rogan's reasons for liking Ron DeSantis was that Ron DeSantis was for freedom.
Yeah, right.
And when he did an excellent job in Florida. And it's like, are you fucking high? I mean, I guess he is. But like I didn't know and not see this coming. Like, I knew he was full of shit. I even took the bait a bit when he announced that he was for Bernie. But I was like, there's something up. That sounds weird. I mean, like,
Joe Rogan's always been like a weird
I don't even give a fuck about him. I don't give a fuck about his fake ass politics. He's a mouthpiece of the UFC, which is like basically owned by Russians. He pushes people from Peter Thiel. Fucking he's one of the advertisers of the Proud Boys. He had Gavin McGinnis on, and like Gavin McGinnis sell to Rogan's audience in a very early period of that time. The Proud Boys, and made it out to be like it was a goof. And Joe Rogan's never apologized for any of that. I don't think he's never actually apologized. I think there might be in a video or something. He's talked about Gavin or whatever, but he's like, oh, Gavin's just a goof. Right. Like, oh yeah, creating a literally modern day brown shirts in America. Oh yeah, it's just a goof. I don't think he's just this regular dude who just has some bad ideas. I think all this shit is premeditated.
Yeah.
And he has marching orders, and he's following him, and he's the fucking mouthpiece of Spotify.
Yep. Yeah.
Him pushing Ron DeSantis and saying that Joe Biden, he basically said like Joe Biden's like a dead person, like he's not alive. Like that's what he like constantly talks about, how he's brain dead and all this shit. He said that the whole time during 2020. I wouldn't trust him, but the problem with him and why he's dangerous is because he is pushing an incredibly right-wing agenda. Like, what we know as right-wing is not what the right wing was when Rush Limbaugh would be going on about like the economy or whatever. This is a different world we live in when it comes to pushing right-wing politics. It's all culture-based, anti-woke, like it's all like the right wing was more concerned about Buzz Lightyear movie than they were about Roe v. Wade.
Oh, did you hear their fury over the new Baymax series?
Yeah, because there's a trans person, a trans man getting. Who cares? Baymax is a cute, cuddly robot that cares about everybody because he's a health
so sweet
assistant robot. And I watched one episode. It was adorable. He helps this old lady, gets her to, she has a bad hip, and he's like, I'll get you to swim. And she's like, I don't want to. She was like embarrassed to swim, something to do with her husband. The pool's next door.
But then he uses critical swim theory.
What?
But then he uses critical swim theory.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and that just nothing more woke than Disney. I mean, it's the most dumbest. This is what people focus on, and that's how they get these rubes to vote for Republicans. It's not about actual policy anymore. Yeah. There is no policy. There's no policy. By the time these people vote for the Republican because they get suckered in by Rogan and other edgelords, thinking that no, these are the guys that are for free speech, not the Democrats. They're the woke people. They're the anti-free speech people. Yeah. And then they're like, wait, what happened to all my benefits? Well, you voted for the guy who you thought was going to save your syrup.
Yeah.
And
right.
You know what? Never mind. I can't even explain it to you. You're too stupid. Well, yeah, you don't have any more benefits anymore. You voted for the guy who, because you were told the Cat in the Hat was canceled or something.
Yeah.
Or you didn't like Baymax. You fell for the Baymax. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, you don't have healthcare anymore. You know,
But that's it. I mean, like, successful politicians now, like Lauren Boebert won her primary yesterday. She's
incredibly gerrymandered district.
But she's bad at her. She's objectively bad at her job. She
literally isn't even doing her job. She puts out a thing the other day. It's like, government is bad. Why are you here then? Yeah. AOC called her out once. It was really funny. Like, why are you here? Leave. If you don't believe in government.
Her Republican opponent was probably just as bad as her, to be honest with you. Like the guy she beat in the primary, he was probably also terrible. But he didn't brand himself as well as Lauren Boebert. Lauren
Boebert is like
I wear high heels and lipstick and machine guns. And I mean, it's like
all edgelord. It's right-wing edgelord bullshit. Like, okay, so I watched this documentary about Carlin.
Yeah.
And Carlin, I would say, definitely lean progressive.
Yeah.
He'd say things like, I don't vote and dumb shit like that, which I don't agree with. But he leaned progressive. He came out like when like Andrew Dice Clay and Sam Kinison were big, and he saw that they were doing punching down humor, and he said like that's not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But the right wing, especially like right wing comedians, have taken that like that energy of Carlin and then pushing it towards like anti-woke. They won't come out and like do a joke about like how they want a flat tax or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
They're not gonna talk about school vouchers.
No.
But they're gonna call out like, but they'll attack the woke.
Yeah.
There's this whole like edgelord bullshit that the right has gotten successful over the past decade in doing, that it gets morons out there who don't understand the difference between the two parties. I had this one guy on my Instagram who said something so stupid. It was like the both parties are the same. That nonsense.
Yeah.
Serves two different wings. And I said, one party wants to take a woman's right to choose away, get rid of destroy environmental regulations, some other things, kill gay people.
Yeah.
The other party wants to provide better healthcare and put in better environment. I don't even know if it's a party, but political beliefs.
Yeah.
These are not the same thing.
Nah.
But the idiot centrist, because they probably think Joe Rogan's a centrist, and he still probably gets away with it. Or there's these other guys like Keemstar, all these other Logan Paul, all these guys get millions of views. Like, we think they're a joke. We don't know. They're on YouTube. They get like 10 million views a video. That's more than most, that's more effective than most news channels.
Oh yeah, easily.
So, but they're pushing a right-wing agenda without having to push what they actually stand for.
Right.
Like, Ron DeSantis stands for freedom. What the? It's broken down in such a guerrilla bullshit. Like, Ron for freedom, Joe not.
Well,
and it's like,
it's
what the
that
fuck
simple.
Are you talking about? That's a fucking fascist. What?
It is that simple. They look at Ron DeSantis, and they are overwhelmed with all the different positions he might take. Some of
he
which
let the party go on though at the beach.
some of which
COVID.
They agree. So well, that's what they say is like Ron DeSantis stood up to the man. And that's it. That's where they stop evaluating it.
Yeah, they don't even understand that. Like, no, that's not what he did. He didn't want to upset his backers so they can keep making money off of you, because if they had to shut down, they wouldn't be making money and he wouldn't get money and the state wouldn't be collecting taxes. Well,
that's a real easy to understand thing and a pretty identifiable thing. The tougher thing is to look at a leader who and say like, there's a person who made tough decisions under difficult circumstances, and I wasn't always thrilled with it, but it worked out. You've lost. That's not a commercial, you know. Ron DeSantis like flipping off Biden. That's a commercial that will get votes.
That's all it takes. It's edgelord bullshit. But it's like the styling of Carlin, but pushed way to the right. But the people don't understand that they are voting for the right. They think that they think. You know, Rush Limbaugh kind of did that a little bit, where he tried to like tell you, no, we're the rebels.
Right.
The right wing of the rebels. It's the PC police. They're the ones that are taking this away from you. You see that with all the right wing chuds when it comes to entertainment, with them attacking Disney. Look what they're doing. They're taking Disney away from you by showing you a trans person. It's like, well, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, that's bullshit. Or like, yeah, that was the other thing too. I was gonna say about the biggest. I remember my dad. I think my dad was one who told me that, or about the red states' reaction to COVID with the shutdowns was they didn't want to shut down because the trick in the system was that the state, they may not have a state tax that comes out of your check, but they make all their money from sales tax.
Yeah, that's how Florida does
it. Yeah. And you're not out, that state ain't collecting money. That's the trick.
Well, Florida relies on tourism. If tourism isn't up and running, then
Yep.
So I don't know. I think you're right. I think that people can't conceptualize it, but I hope soon people will conceptualize it. When
they won't.
Well,
they just won't. I'm telling you, like there's so much misinformation out there. That's a form of misinformation. What Joe Rogan's doing is totally misinforming his audience. Like, okay, here's wait. Because then he can use that clout and can say that he was for Bernie. So he can say, if he wants, he can claim and be like, well, yeah, I support Bernie.
Yeah.
But I think Joe Biden went too far, and I think he's a very weak president. You know, and Ron DeSantis, he's the one that's strong. I may not agree 100% with them, but I'm going to vote for him. It's like you agree 100% with them because you are going to vote for him.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what you claim your politics are. They mean nothing to me. If you vote against everything that you claim your politics are,
you're not that thing. Yeah.
You're not that thing. You're like, that's such bullshit. It's like the Tulsi didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left Tulsi. No. Tulsi Gabbard's a fucking right-wing grifter. That's what she is. Here's another thing. This dipshit in my Instagram was like talking about guns, and he says like the government wants to take away your guns and your rights. And I said, how about this? The government ain't taking away shit. How about this? Maybe the government wants you to go get guns, get as many guns as possible, and kill yourselves off.
Right.
I guarantee you that my wacky idea
closer to the
is
truth,
probably way more true than your insane, I'm going to rebel against the government with my toy AR-15. Yeah, an AR-15 may kill a bunch of kids in a classroom, but
it's not going to kill a kids. Yeah, it's not going to kill an armed division or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like a helicopter will come down and mow out.
Maybe or maybe it'll be a $30 drone. You know, with a 22 strap
with
to
a $2 million bomb strap to it.
I mean, like they don't even have to waste a person on you anymore.
Exactly. These people are delusional. The idea, first of all, that's insane that you live your entire life thinking that.
Yeah.
You're crazy then. You can't believe that any system works. If you go your life thinking that like you need to have a gun because the government's gonna like steal your land or something, then you're not gonna be able to like ever function like in society like normally. And that's again how these people fall for Joe Rogan's and all that bullshit. They believe in these myths and fairy tales. And you have this guy who, because he's an actor, can genuinely speak as an
actor.
Oh
yeah.
Because he is an actor. Guy's a fucking trained actor. He's a trained spokesman.
Mm-hmm.
And he could sell genuine. That's the thing that people don't realize about being genuine is that actors.
They can sell it. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that works.
Acting.
Just like the legendary John
Lovitz. Yeah.
Who wasn't a good actor, actually.
No, he was not. Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I guess, yeah. I guess this wouldn't be a terrible lead into what is really the last thing we were going to talk about, which was the January 6th hearings. Trump definitely does bring all those things we've talked about.
There were two things that happened, and they said that like the limo, him like grabbing ketchup and like trying to grab the wheel, that's the distraction story.
Oh yeah,
there's another story that's like 10 times worse with Trump.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're attacking her.
Hutchinson, you're talking about.
Hutchinson, yeah. But she never claimed, I mean, it's not even like you have to really listen that hard. She never claims to have seen any of those things.
Yeah.
Her claim is this person came in and told me that this is what happened.
A cat came in here and then I knocked over. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Why? This is why you don't have cats. They're just agents. They're fucking agents of chaos. That's all they are. I'm sorry, cat people. They may be cute. They may be funny. They may do some lovable things. They are fucking little chaos agents.
Yeah, we have a couple.
At the worst time. They sneak in. They knock something over.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we have.
That was my cats. January 6th, buddy.
Yeah, they come in when they're hungry and they start a start the meal rally, and
4 a.m.
Yeah.
My cat's dressed up like the QAnon shaman.
Right. Little tiki torch.
The fucking horns.
Well,
they have his face painted like the American flag.
Yeah, if you listen to that woman's testimony, she never says Trump grabbed the wheel. She says this person came in and said that Trump grabbed the wheel. And that's all she's claiming. Oh, geez. Oh, that's no cat.
No, these are the dogs. And then the thing too, the cat does is that he instigates the dogs. Yeah. The dogs will sit there all day, be lazy as fuck. And that cat will walk in the room, and all of a sudden they're like, and they're like, like the dog's like goes nuts, and it's just like, come on, man.
Well,
the cat will be gone all day. All day, the cat will like, we don't know where the fuck he is, he's just laying somewhere, and then out of nowhere, especially when the worst was when COVID was really hitting me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this one night I could not sleep because the dogs were barking and the cat. And I was like, shut the fuck. I'm like, I'm going to throw them all outside the front door. Let them out, go on an adventure. Don't come back. If you come back, it means that you meant it.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Well, anyway, with this woman's testimony, she never claimed to have seen any of these things. She never said these things were true. I believe them. I think they probably did actually happen, but all of that is a distraction because those aren't the important things. Whether or not Trump threw ketchup on the walls, who cares? I totally believe it. That totally
people
tracks.
They were like, we wish Chris Farley was alive, that he would reenact
right
the Trump in the limo.
Did Trump grab the wheel? Who knows? She said that someone told her that he went for the wheel. That could mean 70 different things as far as I'm concerned. The point is, no one is disputing the big facts that he sent Mark Meadows to go meet with those Proud Boys and Oath Keepers at that hotel on January 5th. Yep. No one's disputing that. No one is disputing the fact that Trump said, hey, I know that there are armed people here, but I want them let in. I want those metal detectors taken down so they can march toward the Capitol with their weapons.
The AR-15s, he said, they're not going to harm me.
No one's disputing that. No one's disputing the big criminal elements here. Did Trump throw ketchup? Who cares?
Gives a shit.
Who cares?
The other stuff is way more incriminating and scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious that Trump is basically a toddler who throws his food when he doesn't get his way. But honestly, I believe it. And even if it's not true, who cares? It's meaningless as to the
armed insurrectionist and being fully backed and telling a person that works for him to go meet the literal domestic terrorists, to like people who are not affiliated with the government, that do not get paid by the government, that are not a faction of the government, literal private army of little fascist wannabes.
Hearing that Trump was told about these things, and then on January 7th, Trump is saying he had no idea about these things. Those are the important things. And as far as these agents are going, the Engel and I forget the other one's name, that are saying that they'll contradict this woman's testimony. A, they're both on Trump's payroll. Trump made them staff members. They were buddies. They were hanging out. So I don't believe their word for shit. And B, go under oath.
Yeah.
Go testify in public under oath, or shut the fuck up. Yeah. And they won't do it. They can look. There's a million,
wimps, and they know that they'd be incriminating.
Even none of them have even had the decency to film themselves with their phones and put it up on Twitter.
What did Hutchinson do for the Trump administration?
She was Mark Meadows' chief of staff.
She's like really young, right?
She was like 22 or 23. And look, she worked separately. She had multiple jobs and she kept like advancing. She worked for Ted Cruz, Steve Scalise, Mark Meadows, and someone else. Anyway, she was reasonably high up. And a lot of people said that wherever Mark Meadows went, she was right there with her. She probably got her start when she was like 20 or 21. You know, so I don't know if she's connected family wise. I don't know. I mean, like,
she's like what Trump wanted everyone to think Hope Hicks was.
Yeah. I mean, she looked, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on like anything other than the truth of the matter is that this woman willingly worked for some of the worst people in the country.
Yeah.
I don't like her at all.
People.
Ted
Cruz is like comically bad.
He's bad.
I still like, he's such a horrible, potentially dangerous politician, but he's just so cartoonishly goony. It's hard to take him seriously.
Well, this woman is like a Liz Cheney to me. I appreciate what she's doing. I believe her here. I think she is doing this for some reason that probably doesn't align with my own self-interests. But it is what it is. She went in public under oath and told these things. Until someone comes up with a better story in public under oath, this is the version of the truth we have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like her. She
I mean, I'm glad that she came out and spoke, I guess, but I'm not gonna like maybe shirts that say like those RBG shirts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe she has buyer's remorse. She was pretty young when it all started. Maybe she's different now. It could happen. My mom told me when she was young, she voted for Nixon. And my mom was like the most liberal progressive person I ever met. And she said when she was young, she was a conservative because her parents were conservative, and she voted for Nixon.
Isn't that crazy though, that under Nixon, I remember reading this in like one of Michael Moore's books years ago, and he said that Nixon was our last progressive president.
Yeah, I did.
That Nixon put through the EPA and a bunch of other agencies that and it's crazy. Roe v. Wade happened under his administration. I mean, like all these things happened under him. I mean, it's a monster, total nut. Yeah. But like all these like progressive things happened under his presidency, and it's crazy that like the right wing has tried to get rid of everything that happened under Nixon. It's so weird. Like I know somebody on my comments wrote that too. Like, well, Nixon's one with the EPA. I'm like, okay, that's great, but guess what? For the past like 40 years, the right wing's been the one that's been trying to dissolve it. Like, what's your point?
Well.
I don't know what's going to happen with January 6th. Obviously, the more and more stuff comes out, it's clearly more and more obvious that Trump is guilty and he should go to jail. Yeah. He definitely should not be allowed to run for president.
It looks like the Department of Justice is. Oh, God.
No, go ahead. What?
It looks like the Department of Justice is starting to put the screws to people. He may get charged.
Someone in his administration, didn't someone get since somebody gets into jail recently?
It was Rudy Giuliani's associate.
Oh, Lev Parnas, like Russian spy or whatever.
He just went to prison for 18 months. And they confiscated John Eastman's cell phone. He was coming out of a restaurant. They stopped him, made him unlock it, and then they went off with it. So look, if you had asked me back when Biden first took office what my hope would be, I would say Trump in jail as soon as possible. But there also would have been a strong argument to be made for Trump and a bunch of his cronies getting arrested right before the midterms. And maybe that's what's going to happen,
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
I just think they have to be careful with that because
I do too.
Nut jobs out there. It's amazing how all the nuts usually are. It's always for like right wing shit. It's never like people who push like progressive values and stuff. They usually don't have the nuts.
Rarely, yeah.
It's always like the conspiracy minded lunatics that like the fact that like if Trump went to jail that there would be like this chaos for this fucking clown of a person.
Well,
like this guy who doesn't give a fuck about anyone except himself.
I think a lot of progressives, I'm maybe very overgeneralizing here, but a lot of progressives, they love their family, they love their friend, they have like these human relationships, and they want everyone, they want better for everyone, and they would not risk. They don't want to go to jail for a cause because then they'd never see their kid again or whatever.
I mean, there's tons of people who go to jail for causes,
but like
good causes.
Yeah,
good causes, not chud causes.
But chuds are more prone to do that because they more often have had severed family relationships.
Well, their brains. I mean, if you're gonna go crazy and possibly lose your life, go to jail to defend a scuzzball like Trump, your brain isn't operating correctly.
Sure.
I mean, unless you're like highly paid,
Yeah.
You're a highly paid agent or something. But if you're just like an Ashley Babbitt type, you're just nuts.
Yeah.
Didn't they say like they had to they shot her because it like by killing her, it stopped these people from coming in? Like if they did not take out one of them or whatever, these people would have broke through.
That's what
it would have been like January 6th would have had way more dead people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any of the politicians would have been killed, but probably more of the cops, more of the guards, more of the staff.
Yeah.
Just innocent staff members that just have, something that's the other thing too. Okay. It's like Supreme Court, something's got to happen like about that. We cannot, this court is running wild or something's got to happen where it's like, you know what? We just voted on a bunch of stuff. This still going to be an EPA. Sorry, buddy. Or the gun laws. Well, guess what? Every state just that had concealed carry. You said New York, they were meeting. There was like
they were going to meet tonight and try to like craft a new law that didn't run afoul of it. And I think that's a successful strategy. I mean, the
problem is that this is the devious thing about that is that when you allow fine, New York putting all these laws, but they still going to be killings because it's going to be even more easier access for people to get guns from other states and bring it in.
It destabilizes everything, and it creates a discontinuity.
Like what they say about Chicago, all the weapons come from like
Indiana. They're all from Indiana.
Yeah, it's like it's only like what, a couple miles. Like it's not that far away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the two states border each other, so yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up real quick. I just had like a brain fart. It's something to do with Giuliani.
Oh yeah.
You hear about that?
I heard his kid lost his primary.
No, not that. That's funny too.
Yeah, that is
hilarious. I guess he was campaigning for his son or something.
Oh yeah, Some
guy went up to him,
tapped him on the back,
and he said, "What up, scumbag?" or something. Yeah. And the original story came out and said that a guy assaulted Giuliani.
Yes, I remember hearing that.
And then more and more stuff came out, and then the video came out of him
laughably bad,
literally patting this man on the back.
And Giuliani doesn't even flinch.
Yeah, there's no movement. I'm sorry, if you're a 78-year-old man, how old? He's like 78, right?
Yeah, I think he's up there. Yeah.
And you're not aware that like someone's behind you and gonna smack you in the back. If you're San Diego man and someone wails you on the back, your whole body is gonna move.
Right.
And this guy just like went up to him in the video. Yeah, he doesn't even like, his body doesn't even flinch at all. And I guess the real stinger was they called him a scumbag. Was supposed to be the guy got like a fucking arrested. Somebody brought up a good point and said, like, I don't know, it was like Ward Sutton, he's a comic artist, cartoonist. He brought up a good point and said, where, like, this is the other thing the left wing fails at. Like, where have all the people who like are coming out in this guy's like GoFundMe? Like, you get like scumbags like Kyle Rittenhouse who like shoot up,
right,
fucking kills 2 people, and then like you get all these scumbags that like do GoFundMe. Where's the GoFundMe for this guy who just like, he's a hero. I mean, the guy called Giuliani a scumbag. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think if anything, Giuliani got off easy.
Buy that for $1.
But yeah, I just remember that was news, and I thought that was kind of funny.
That is funny.
And I remember when the video evidence came out, and like I think the news, I don't know, it was like BNN or them, like they retracted their story. It was not an
assault.
But like I said, supposedly the guy got charged. Like Giuliani pushed charges against him. Jeez. Made it sound like this guy tried to murder him.
Yeah.
I think Giuliani's trying to swerve the conversation from.
Yeah, he may want to change.
Yeah. So what a great, it
was a rough.
I lost my Instagram account.
Yeah, I did see that.
I had 2 Instagram accounts. Rob Israel Art and Rob Israel. I still have Rob Israel Art. My Rob Israel account was taken down because of the abortion thing.
Yeah.
So if you don't like abortion, cut off your dick.
That's crazy. Did you get an official, like, you're not getting it back, or do you just know?
So they took down the artwork like a couple hours later. They claimed for like self-mutilation or suicide. Sure. It's the craziest thing. I'm like, no. And then they took down a story. Oh, I posted it the tape saying they took it down, and they took down the post.
Right.
Of the post being taken down.
Yeah.
And then I guess I had a t-shirt or whatever. And then I went onto my account and it started doing this weird spinning thing. And it said, basically, your account's gone. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah. I mean, I'm bummed, but I think it's probably best I just have one art account, because I think I could probably get it like verified better.
Probably, yeah.
It's just like, I was like thinking about it. Like, it's kind of depressing. Like, I had that account since 2014. A lot of my old artwork was on there.
Yeah.
It's all gone. It's all gone. Instagram I might get it back. I don't know. I put in a review.
Yeah.
So they get back to me after 24 hours. I got no fucking emails.
Yeah.
Their communication sucks.
It's always terrible. I've tried to communicate with them on a few different things, and it's just not.
Absolutely horrible. A horrible. It's a horrible app. It really is one of the worst apps ever created. Like, it was great first
briefly.
Yeah. And then now, I mean, I try to tell people, go on TikTok, follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Follow me on Facebook, which is hysterical because they own Instagram. Like, follow me on there.
Right.
I mean, I guess it was like, I was like thinking about it. Like, it didn't bother me that. I was like, more pissed than anything. But it's like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, dude, I've had this account where I've been like, was posting art since 2014. And it's just gone.
Yeah.
Because I posted that drawing with some fucking chud got upset. I always love the reactions of people. Ooh, like a weird condom. I'm like, you just don't really don't have a sense. You really think, I said to one person, I'm like, do you really think I want you to cut off your dick? Do you really think that? You know what? Just you. Yeah. Maybe just you. Not you guys. Like that person.
No, the rhetorical you.
I don't mean it. But in this special case, I think maybe just you. Like, people are, All right, well, hold on. I'm gonna have a coughing fit on the way out.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised I lasted as long as I did.
Well, hopefully next week when we talk, you will be perfectly healthy, and we will be talking about the amazing string of executive orders proposed by Biden. So
that will be great.
Yes.
And we'll have unlimited Baja Blast.
Yes.
Flying cars. money, like $5,000 just put in our accounts. What?
Money trees.
Money trees? Yeah, that was crazy. The money tree that grew in my backyard the other day.
Yeah.
I would say if that's the case, we can definitely live in the Matrix.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
What?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to the backwards thing.
Yeah.
The weird, torturous existence.
Yes. Yeah, it'll happen.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a